This weekend, the pressure is on in the Blancpain GT World Challenge Europe. We're at the Hungaroring just outside Budapest, and it's the championship showdown, the last two races of the season. The title is on the line. Andrea Caldarelli and Marco Mappelli head the championship. The opposition, Luca Stolz and Maro Engel. Last time out, just a week ago, we were at the Nürburgring and race 2 produced drama. Dries van 't Voort led away from pole position, storming down to the first corner, being chased hard by Audi teammate Christopher Mies. There was drama on the first lap as the Rinaldi Racing Ferrari came to grief with the Raffaele Marciello Vincent Abril Mercedes. It was out, the Ferrari pitted for repairs. Battles raged on. Caldarelli trying to hustle his way up through the field. The FFF Racing team looked on as the mandatory pit stops cycled through. Marco Mappelli took over 5.63 against the championship rival Mercedes. Maro Engel sharing with Luca Stolz. The Lamborghini ahead on the pit stops, therefore outscoring its championship rival, set to increase the championship lead coming to Hungary. But for the race win, there was even more drama to come. Dries van 't Voort handed over the #1 race-leading Audi to Ezequiel Perez Compact, who was soon being caught by teammate Charles Weerts. More battles raged on out on track, but between the two Audis, Weerts was right onto the tail of Compact. The pair of them then caught by the SRO Motorsports Aston Martin of Ricky Collard. Collard challenged Weerts, Weerts defended, went up the inside of Compact, who turned in. The two made contact, and both, with damage, were out of the race. There was a delighted Martin Kirchhofer, a very frustrated WRT, especially Dries van 't Voort. Compact parked it, Weerts headed for the pit lane and retired, and that meant that the Aston Martin was heading for not only its first podium, but its first win of the season. Simon Gachet was under attack from Marco Mappelli. It was up to the checkered flag, and a first victory for SRO Motorsport in 2019 came. Ricky Collard, to the delight of Martin Kirchhofer. The first time the crew has been on the podium this year, a first victory, and Ricky Collard was absolutely delighted. This weekend's final European races, part of the Blancpain GT World Challenge, which has America and Asia to factor in as well. And Ferrari and Mercedes, the two brands entering cars across all three. In America, they have the likes of Tony Villander, for example, scoring points. But in Europe, Andrea Bertolini, David Perel, Renat Salikov, and Louis Machiels are the drivers, whereas in Asia, for example, amongst the stars, you've got Rio Haryanto scoring points for the brand there. So you take the points from each of those three regional championships as part of the Blancpain GT World Challenge final score. What about Mercedes? Well, that has Scotsman Ryan Dalziel as an example, scoring points in America. In Europe, Raffaele Marciello, Luca Stolz, Thomas Neubauer, and Mauro Ricci, because they're coming from Pro-Am, and Am and Silver Cup as well, whereas in Asia, Roelof Bruns is one of the star drivers. So it's an impressive lineup for the three-pointed star as well, and the battle is on between Ferrari and Mercedes. At the moment, Mercedes, though, has the advantage as we head to the last European races of the season. Now let's concentrate on the races this weekend and the European title, which is up for grabs. What about Andrea Caldarelli's chances for Lamborghini?
Well, the season went very well so far. We came here to the last race leading the championship, so that means that we did some good job this year. It has been an amazing season, honestly. The level is so high, and it's every race. It's really like a big challenge. But so far, I think we did pretty well, very consistent, and so now we are at the last round fighting for the championship, so really excited.
Maro Engel for Black Falcon in the Mercedes has got some work to do this weekend, outscored in both races in Germany by Caldarelli and Mappelli. So the pressure is on, but this could be a circuit kind to the Mercedes.
It's been an exciting GT World Challenge season. We have a really strong team together here at Team Black Falcon. The AMG GT3 has been performing really well. We had a few hiccups in the pits last time out, but we really fancy our chances and we'll definitely give it all to try and win the title this weekend.
For the Grasser Racing team, Christian Engelhardt and Mirko Bortolotti are third in the championship standing, but they're a long way back. They're the real outsiders. The focus, perhaps, race wins.
The chance is always there, that's for sure. It's the last round, so we will obviously give it a maximum push, try to finish on a high. The last 2 rounds has been quite good for us. We've been 3 times on the podium, finishing second all the time. We were quite close to win the race last time out at Nürburgring, so we'll definitely try and give it everything to get that win this weekend. At the moment we are lying in the 3rd spot at the championship, so we'll definitely try to defend that, and if we can get further up the order, then obviously we will take it.
And next in the championship standings, this Audi, run by the Santa-Lock team of Christopher Haase and Simon Gachet. And Gachet, in particular, has been getting quicker and quicker, doing endurance and sprint races, a regular on the podium and a race winner at Zandvoort.
We're not thinking about the championship. Yeah, we would like to win the Blancpain GT World Challenge Europe. We just would like to have a good car, a strong car for this weekend, to take some big points, and we will see at the end of this meeting where we are.
There are class battles to resolve as well this weekend. Silver Cup, Am and Pro-Am. And that is being led by this Lamborghini, driven by Phil Keane and Hiroshi Hamaguchi, learning about new circuits all year long.
This GT World Challenge is very competitive, and our class, the grid is not too big, but still very competitive. Top 4 drivers are there, and it's not easy at all. This is the only truck that I know from this series, and I'm quite confident. The Ferraris are very competitive, good drivers, so we will try our best.
It's a real Italian brand battle in Pro-Am, because against Lamborghini comes Ferrari. Rinaldi Racing had a tough time in Germany, and David Pirelli is looking to bounce back here.
The Blancpain GT World Challenge, it's the first year of this championship in this name and form. So it's obviously quite cool to, if we can, to be champions the first year of that series would be amazing. We have a really good chance this weekend, it's tight. Our main rival is the Lamborghini from FFF. They're currently leading the championship, but we have the benefit of my bronze driver, Rinat Salikov, who is incredibly quick. So I'm hoping that if we win this championship, it's because of Rinat.
The Silver Cup for the young guns is led by this AKA ASP-run Mercedes, driven by Nico Bastien and Thomas Neubauer. They were outright winners at Brands Hatch, since when they've been steadily banking points.
After winning the first race of the World Challenge Europe was a good start, but we had some difficult rounds after. We're still leading the championship, so now we have to keep focusing on this weekend. We have to win it. For us, for my family, for every people that are supporting us, yeah, that's the goal, and we'll give everything to win this.
There's good news and bad from the Hungaroring. The bad news is it's wet, there's going to be a safety car start. The good news is I think conditions are improving. The rain has stopped falling with quite the same force that it was about an hour ago for the start of the Formula Renault race. You can see a bit more of the landscape in the background, and so things are less grim. I wouldn't say brighter, but things are starting to improve a little. It's going to be a safety car start, but there is certainly optimism that it won't be too many laps before the cars are unleashed. And as we get ready for the first of the 2 races, absolutely crucial, of course, that for those that didn't qualify so well, they do get some racing laps in. They can make progress, especially those fighting for a championship. Let's have a walk up the grid and see Raffaele Marciello's red and white Mercedes for AKA ASP on pole. The Black Falcon car is alongside of Luca Stolz. Row 2 is Mirko Bortolotti. And alongside him is Ricky Collard in the R Motorsport Aston Martin. The 3rd row has the Attempto Audi. Calvin van der Linde goes first, and the Mercedes of Thomas Neubauer is alongside ahead of Simon Gachet in number 25 Audi. And in 5-6-3, Marco Mappelli, that's the other car against the blue Mercedes we've already seen of Stolz, fighting for the championship. So there is the safety car ready to lead them away. The race starts, of course. The clock starts ticking as soon as that car leaves the line and as it starts to accelerate. So the clock ticks. The race is on then as the race begins and the field accelerates off down towards the first corner. Rain has stopped. The cloud is lifting, and it won't be that long, given that we've got 28 cars with big fat tyres to squeegee the water away before we can go racing.
So it will be certainly a voyage of discovery for everybody in this now, the first lap of the race, albeit behind the safety car.
Now the drivers will be radioing back to the teams. The teams will be reporting on the team's message service to Alain Aron, who is the race director. The safety car crew will be relaying information as well. Puddle here, slippery there, and all of that will help form the decision as to when the cars are released. Now there on screen, confirmation of how we stand in the championship. Mappelli Caldarelli 8 points up on Stolz and Engel. Then you've got Bortolotti and Engelhardt. Now they are real outsiders, as are Haase and Gachet. So you've got really one battle on for the title and another battle on for third.
Safety car in this lap.
Safety car in this lap. We're set to go racing at the end of lap 3.
Exciting moments for everybody, but particularly at the front of the field. So it will be Marco Mappelli wondering, what have I got to do to get from 8th in this line of cars to the tail, at least, at worst, of the number 4, the blue Mercedes.
Green lights on, we are racing. Away they blast, and it is Raffaele Marciello then that leads them away. He's the pioneer in terms of finding out at race pace what the grip level is like. He's got the best of the visibility. In second place is Luca Stolz. Mirko Bortolotti is third. Collard is fourth. Fifth on his outside line is Van der Linde. And for sixth then, Simon Gachet goes ahead of Thomas Neubauer. There's your first change. The Santilok Audi gets up on the inside of the Acker Mercedes as they plunge downhill. Marco Mappelli is on his toes as well, trying to get up on the inside. That's Collard going through on the inside of Van der Linde to retake fourth place, and Mappelli has gained ground as well.
Well, that was a brave move, and there you see that's on board. Car running currently in 8th, maybe down up to 7th place, out of turn 3, up the hill. The track is wetter here, and it's going to get more and more tricky coming in turn 4. You just have to be careful. Where are your apexes when you make it? But certainly looking around you as the 25 runs marginally wide again on the exit of turn 4.
Ricky Collard going wide, looking for traction. Interesting that Mappelli didn't have the wipers on, just letting the air pressure blow the water off the screen. Collard then hanging on a fourth, but they're way up. Over the curve goes Marciello. Second, Stolz. Third, Bortolotti. Collard cuts it completely. So behind him does Van der Linde. And another one going through the chicane, making a mockery of the curbs.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, whether that's going to give it a bye simply because it's the opening lap at race speed, so I would imagine it will, but if anybody persists in doing that and gaining an advantage, and Ricky Collard just coming under threat, there we are coming into, I wonder, has Ricky maybe cut the tire down because he had made progress or something? He certainly appeared to give that place up somewhat more easily than I would have imagined.
He's lost chunks of time, he's lost a place then, so Calvin Van der Linde comes through, Simon Gachet round the outside, the Audi tiptoeing through, but it's gone ahead, and here comes Mappelli, look to try and go around the outside of Collard. I think Ricky's just struggling in these conditions, isn't he? Mappelli is on his toes, he goes through, and Gachet, reveling in the greasy nature of the road, gets up the inside there. Look of Calvin Van der Linde, Marco Mappelli gaining ground, Ricky Collard is dropping back as they come into now turn 14. Race leaders heading up towards the timing line. Raffaele Marciello leads them through at the end of lap 4, the first pucker racing lap. Not a yellow flag in sight, which is great news. Second over the timing line is Stolz. Bortolotti third, and then in the gloom, the next pair of headlights belongs to, in fourth place, Van der Linde. Fifth is Gachet. Sixth now, it's Mappelli. Collard is seventh, Neubauer eighth, Drudy ninth, Scott Horst is 10th. Mappelli, in the meantime, is hustling on, keeping out of trouble, staying with that leading group. He is in 6th place, 11 seconds off the leader.
Yeah, Kevin Van der Linde has managed to pull a little bit of a gap over Simon Gachet, and that maybe is holding back Marco Mappelli.
Race control confirming, incidentally, that you are not allowed to cut the chicane as we've seen people doing, and they're going to have a look at it, so don't be surprised if we start getting excited about people being either under investigation or getting penalties.
I think certainly the team should be given warnings to tell the drivers to stop doing it, but look, Mirko Bortolotti gets the Lamborghini up the inside in final turn, but will he have the speed off the corner? No, he doesn't. But again, getting so close to the tail of the second place Mercedes, that's going to be concern right now for Luca Stolz.
It is indeed, because not only is he having to defend, it means he's losing touch with Marciello, who is now in the 159s and building the lead as Bortolotti forced the issue down at turn 1. He does not going in, but he might get up the inside coming out of the corner. If he can't get the job done, though, he's on the outside line going down towards turn 2. They're side by side. Stolz just has the line on the inside line. Stays ahead. Bortolotti goes back to the inside. He's going to do it here, surely.
Yes, he did. He tried it a lap ago. He wasn't far enough up. This time he got the inside of the corner. Lucas Stolz chose the long way around, and of course he opened the door up. Mirko Bortolotti had one go at it coming down into turn 1. He didn't need a second invitation to make it stick, and now it's Mercedes, Lamborghini Mercedes. Lucas Stolz has lost one position, and that's critical because the Marco Mappelli, who started in 8th place, is up to 6th. As we see 563, black-white flag for disrespecting the track limits. That's the car that's leading the championship, and it's been given a black and white warning flag.
There, coming into the pit lane, is Mappelli to give way to Andrea Caldarelli early.
Whoa!
That.
That's not something you want to be seen doing very often. So Andrea will be hoping that they can do one of their mega pit stops and jump the opposition from a quick pit stop, which is probably going to be the only way and easiest way to make progress from now on to the end of the race.
So the new Pirelli wets go on. Only 2 mechanics allowed to do the tar changes. Door closes. Marco Mappelli, having strapped in Andrea Caldarelli, scampers away. Car drops down. Mechanics out of the way. Go, go, go. But of course, you've got to make sure you do not leave the pit lane before 62 seconds are up, as Bortolotti has armfuls of opposite lock.
That's the problem you get when the wet weather tyre wears away. It's almost the worst scenario you can have on a circuit that's gone from wet, wet, wet to a drying, and you get that kind of scummy period between the track being wet and then going into a dry situation. David, it's a good call if somebody wants to hang out until the very last seconds of the pit lane window being open and roll the dice, put on a set of slicks. You could be the hero of the afternoon. Because equally, you could look like a fool. Second place, third place, Lucas Stolz comes in, so he will hand over to Mauro Engel, and there's still another 5 minutes remaining of the pit lane window. So I think this could be the pivotal pit stop. Will it be Lucas Stolz and Mauro Engel that are the first to roll the dice, to take that gamble and go onto a set of dry weather slick tyres?
Or does Black Falcon just cover what the opposition did? No heroics in this race. Let's see. Gachet Hauser's Audi in the background as well. Look, so Christopher Hauser sprints across. Now let's see what rubber goes on. The car goes up. Tyre change underway. Wets. Wets goes on number 4. Marciello has stayed out, of course, the race leader. And there is 563 Andrea Caldarelli now, hustling his way up the order. Right, so there are the tyres going on to 63.
Well, wheel nut on the 88 Mercedes fell out of the gun, and one of the engineers puts his hand down, picks it up. We didn't see that. Did anybody else see it? So they're rolling. So the 63 is going to come off the jacks, so it's rolling. Christian Engelhardt, be careful with the release. Not a problem. So that goes out better placed than it was when it came in. Considerably better placed, because that was the lead car when it came in, and it's a lot closer to the lead car than it was when they were, whatever it was, half a lap, half a corner, or whatever ago.
Yeah, it was 5 seconds, wasn't it, when they came in. There is Mauro Engel going for the wet part of the road. So race order remains 88 Mercedes ahead of 63 Lamborghini, and of course number 4 still ahead of 563. The race has got 24 3/4 minutes to go. There, contact in the pit lane. That's Fred Vervies getting into the back of Dries Van Thor, who is stuck behind Shea Davis. So all the Audis getting together.
And that was a bit clumsy. Fred Vervies was very, very impatient. 5 Audis going into turn 1 at the same time, almost 3 abreast. 2 separate battles.
The red one of Jamie Green is the one really going for it. Jamie, the DTM star, trying to get through the traffic here. Dries Van Thor now with a bit of rear damage, gets ahead of Shea Davis. Jamie Green to the outside there of Rick Brokers, runs out of real estate. Fred Vervies in the blue Phoenix car is there as well. But yeah, this Audi R8 Cup race going on at the moment. They're all over the place.
I mean, Fred Vervies round the outside, goes way, way off track. And has he made up a position, or has he just had a little bit of an adventure all of his own? But Dries Van Thor struggling again. Look how far he was off track. All of them, all 5 with the exception of the... Well, I can't even...
Well, the one that's benefited, look, is number 90 Mercedes, because that stayed on the road and the places have come to Philippe Froggen. The Mercedes getting on with it. The road is getting drier. Froggen is on a mission. Look, he's carving his way past them.
Yes, he has. He's gone up the inside. He's going to contact with the number 5. No, he didn't. But Froggen certainly has joined in this battle and is just simply carrying more speed. Look at the back of Dries Van Thor's, that left rear corner. Yeah. Is that the damage that occurred in the pit lane?
Yes, absolutely. It's when it was savvy by Vervies, wasn't it? So Greg Masters and the stewards will be having a look at that. I'm sure Alain Adon will say, right, go and have a look at this, chaps. There's the video footage of it. And there, another change as Shea Davis falls back in the Audi pack. That puts him behind Marcus Winkelhock now. So busy, 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 and up front it is 88 Mercedes still leading the way. Here's a replay, look. So Vantor is released and he just comes straight across. It's the number 1 that you would argue was the unsafe release.
That's an unsafe release in my opinion, because he just bullied his way in.
Yeah.
When Fred Vervies had, he was doing what he was required to do.
On board with Caldarelli, who is 6th, banking points on the tail of Hugo de Sadelier. Now, although Engel for the moment is unlikely to gain a place, Caldarelli may well be able to go through here as they come up on the inside line. He's done it, has he? Not quite. Hugo de Sadelier, Silver Cup driver, runs wide around the outside, and through goes Caldarelli. So that gives him another place. Mauro Engel is currently running third, up into fifth. Now we'll go to Caldarelli, and that means it's 4.5 points going into tomorrow's race if the result stays as it is now.
Vincent Abril comes through cleanly through turn 4. Christian Engelhardt slithers. Wow, Mauro Engel, you could easily see how much quicker he will be, just visually much quicker than the 2 cars ahead.
10 minutes on the clock, battle on here, lower down, as to the inside, Nico Bastien. In the background, look, Christopher Mies, and the one that's being mugged in all of this in number 56, look, is Mathieu Drudy, 3 wide. Do they all survive? They do, and Christopher Mies is on his toes. Nico Bastien gets ahead of Drudy, Mies gets ahead of Drudy, the 3 of them as one as they head up the hill.
Good bit of driving, because they all were very close, leaning on one another, but no contact whatsoever.
Nico Bastien, who is second now on track in the Silver Cup. Remember, he leads that in the championship.
Back to this battle at the front. The top 3 now all in vision.
And second to third is a 10th less than first to second. So this is the man to watch. Engel, no question, is closing on the second place Lamborghini, and he needs another place because of the points that would give him.
Look at the, he's been taking just over 1/10 of a second on lap 22, 8/10 lap 23, 8/10 lap 24. He's carving lumps out of the gap between second and third.
Yeah.
Vincent Abril slides through cleanly. Well, Mauro Engel uses a bit more of the racetrack, but that is within acceptable limits. And literally by the corner is the number 4 Mercedes closing onto the tail of the 63 Lamborghini.
Mirko Bortolotti looks on, his car is under attack, and here is the fight coming down towards the first corner. Is Engel close enough to make the move into turn 1? Tries to go to the outside coming into the corner, but he can't get the undercut. What about down at turn 2? He loses a little bit of ground coming through turn 1, down the hill. He's certainly quicker. Where and when does he make this move, though?
Right now, Christian Engelhardt's not really offering up any opportunities. He's using his car to maximum effect, to, in effect, stall out all the good work that Mauro Engel has done over the last 20 or so minutes to get to this position.
And lap after lap, Christopher Haase is just getting quicker and quicker. A low 58 now, 58.090. That's the leader. That is Vincent Abril, looking to score a second victory of the season. His first Mercedes season, of course, moving from Bentley, as again Engel tries the outside line. He goes where the grip is. He's quick coming off the corner. Is he going to get up the inside? No, because Engelhardt covers him off. And Engelhardt getting ever more defensive. Engel crawling all over the back of him. Can he get up the inside? There's a brush between them. Damage to the Lamborghini. Engel up the curb. Still can't find a way through. Absolutely nose to tail. Up through turn 9 they will come in a moment, and the Mercedes then now trying to find the clear track space that's required. It's got the pace, you can see. They are about to start the last lap, I would offer you. Has he got close enough this time? Let's see. Now he fires the gun. Engel comes over the line. One more lap to go. Penultimate race in the championship. Engelhardt goes defensive in the Lamborghini. Engel in the Mercedes right up behind him. Can he prise open the door? Going down towards turn 1. Again, he goes to the outside line, but there's no undercut.
No, he wasn't able to do anything. Engelhardt got the car slowed down, got in, made his apex, forcing Engel to look the long way around, and that by doing that, then Engelhardt was able to get back on the throttle. But you can see how marginal the levels of grip are, particularly for Christian Engelhardt, under braking into turn 2. Now he's going to have another challenge through turn 3, up the hill. Watch from going to the right. Mauro Engel goes to the wetter part of the racetrack just to do the minutest amount of tire cooling. Last opportunities coming up through turn 4, runs wide. He'll try maybe looking into turn 5 round the outside, but Engelhardt's got the ground and he knows, but the pace of the Mercedes off turn 5 is quicker than that of the Lamborghini, but he's in the wrong part of the racetrack.
Goes to the outside line. Can he get up the curb? Yes, is he alongside? Almost. On the outside line, though, for the next corner. They are still just Lamborghini ahead, but there, but the Engelhardt car goes wide. Engel's alongside him. Can he go round the outside? Yes, he can. He's done it. He's got his nose in front. Can he make it stick as they go into the next left-hander? Yes. Lukas Stolz is delighted. While all this has been going on, we've had Andrea Caldarelli and then Philippe Froggen set the fastest lap. Finally, Engel is through. That is a position gain. It's more points gained in the championship, and it was hugely well-deserved because, boy, did he work for that.
He worked for it. He worked over Christian Engelhardt harder than Engelhardt's probably ever had in his life, Engelhardt did everything correct, defended. They got together coming into turn 6 and 7. The Porsche runs wide, but finally going side by side through turns 7 and 8 and 9. Well, you rarely see that Vincent Abril slowing through the final turn. He's done a wheel-perfect job for the ACA ASP team and takes victory.
Vincent Abril, Raffaele Marciello win at the Hungaroring ahead of Maro Engel and Lukas Stolz. Christian Engelhardt, Mirko Bortolotti take third. Clement Schmidt fourth with Calvin van der Linde, only just ahead of Andrea Caldarelli and Marco Mappelli, who take fifth place. And that means they will lead by just 2 points provisionally going into tomorrow's race. That's a hugely important result for Engel and Stolz then to get them much closer going into the championship showdown tomorrow.
And what's going to be really important for tomorrow is that Stolz and Engel will start on the second row of the grid, where Capelli and Caldarelli will start on the 7th. Everything is doable. Everything's up for grabs.
It's still up for grabs for certain places in the race. Look, Phil Keane coming under attack here from Jim Clark. This is for the Pro-Am lead. It's changed in favour of the Mercedes, 2 corners from home. Jim Clark for ACA ASP. They've had an overall win. They're about to have a class win as well. Here comes Jim Clark up through the gears, out of turn 14. And on the last lap, we have a Silver Cup change for the lead, and we have a Pro-Am change for the lead. Jim Clark and Mauro Ricci win in the Pro-Am competition. Nico Bastian and Thomas Neubauer win in the Silver Cup. Park that for a moment. Overall, silver, Pro-Am, all won by ACA ASP.
And second place were Lamborghinis. And they overtook Lamborghinis on that last lap.
A delighted Raffaele Marciello embraces Vincent Abril as race winners. Very well deserved. Great drive by the pair of them. They won at Zandvoort, but we've been expecting far more victories and a far better season out of 2 real GT stars. It's certainly come good here in changing conditions this afternoon. ACA ASP team victorious here at the Hungaroring with Raffaele Marciello and Vincent Abril winning race 1 by 2.3 seconds from Lukas Stolz and Maro Engel, the man of the hour, coming good on that last lap from Mirko Bortolotti and Christian Engelhardt third. Calvin van der Linde and Clement Schmidt, really good drive for fourth ahead of Marco Mappelli and Andrea Caldarelli. They still lead the championship. The margin shrinks. Simon Gachet 6th with Christopher Hasse. Silver Cup winners 7th, Thomas Neubauer and Nico Bastian. 8th, Christopher Mies and Charles Weert. 9th, Hugo de Sandoval Arivagno, losing Silver Cup honours on the last lap. And 10th, Marvin Kirchhofer and Ricky Collard. 21st, you find the Pro-Am winners, again for ACA ASP, Jim Clark and Jean-Luc Bobelic coming home victorious in the 87 Mercedes. Great drive by Jim Clark in that second stint.
Guys, well, congratulations. I mean, that was phenomenal. Really, from a lights to flag finish, you stayed out of trouble, managed that race to perfection.
Yeah, first of all, thank you to the team. We didn't have an easy start of the weekend, but the car was absolutely amazing in quality this morning. And in those conditions, when you start at the front, it helps. Lelo did a mega start. Car was tricky to drive. It didn't look like it, but it was tricky. And yeah, just one important thing, I want to wish my best to Enzo Eid. I know he's having a tough time now, and he's a good friend of us, so I really hope that he gets better, and of course this race is for Antoine.
And do you echo the words of Anton as well?
Yeah, I mean, it looks easy from outside, but it's never easy when you are third from the start to the end. It's a bit of pity now looking back to the season with the trouble we had in Misano and Brenzach, because maybe with this point we were able to fight for the championship also, but it's a good victory today. Tomorrow again from pole we will try to win again and finish the season in the high.
Absolutely, do it all over again tomorrow. Thanks very much, well done.
Well, let's have a reminder of how we look going into tomorrow's race overall. Marco Mappelli, Andrea Caldarelli, 2 points to the good now from Lukas Stolz and Maro Engel, with Mirko Bortolotti, Christian Engelhardt just 1 point ahead of Raffaele Marciello and Vincent Abril in the battle to be, if you like, the best of the rest. Christopher Hasse, Simon Gachet just about within striking distance ahead of Dries van Thor. Ricky Collard, Marvin Kirchhofer next. They in turn are 2 points up on Charles Weerts, Nico Bastian and Thomas Neubauer behind them. Vincent Abril, Raffaele Marciello, the winners in race 1 here in Budapest.
And now you can celebrate with the champagne!
There's more of the same, a championship to be decided tomorrow. We'll see you then. And so it all comes down to this final race of the season in the Blancpain GT World Challenge Europe. It's race 2 here at the Hungaroring. The grid is formed. The championship situations are very finely poised. Overall, Silver Cup and Pro-Am all on the line. There's going to be a lot to look for during the course of the next hour of racing. Andrea Caldarelli has the championship lead along with Marco Mappelli by just 2 points. Let's hear the thoughts of Andrea. He's on the grid with John Watson.
Andrea, row 7 not ideal to try and defend that 2-point advantage you have over Black Vulcan.
Yeah, should be somewhere around there, but we can see them, so that's very important. We will try to do our race, honestly. I don't want to think about the championship. It's a very tricky condition to start from, but I think we have a good car for the race, and we will go full attack for it.
Well, one advantage you've got is that row 6, it's your 2 sister cars. They're going to split like a bit of Bognor Regis rock, aren't they?
No, they're gonna help me to go in the front. No, it's yeah, it's good to have the row in front of me with our friends, but we all think about our race, so that's important. And they are also fighting for their championship, so it's gonna be just 2 different races.
Realistically, I'm sure you've gone through this 1,000 times since last night. What can you do?
Nothing. Drive as I know how to do it, and go in front. We need a podium, realistically, more or less. That's what we need. It's hard, but we are tougher. So.
It'll either be a very long hour or a very short one.
A very what? Sorry.
Long or short hour?
Not sure. Depends where we are in compared to the other cars.
You'll do good.
Andrea Caldarelli making the point that he's way back on the grid, but only because a good lap time in qualifying was lost for track limit abuse. So it means that the championship leading 563 Lamborghini will start 13th on the grid. And their pole position for Vincent Abril. Here, Raffaele Marciello winners yesterday. Raffaele winner here last year as well. The Grasser Lamborghinis on the outside of row 1. Christian Engelhardt to go first. And coming into this race, Caldarelli and Mappelli 2 points ahead of Luca Stolz and Mauro Engel as the main championship rivals. Now this car could end up 3rd because Marciello and Abril are only 1 point behind Bortolotti and Engelhardt, who line up alongside. So although we're going to focus inevitably on the overall championship, there is of course the other class situations and other battles within the top 10, all to be resolved over the course of the next hour of racing. Pit window 25 to 35 minutes, and for the overall classification teams, you can make your pit stop as quick as you can. Natural pit stops, they're not to a time, but they are for Pro-Am and Am. 62 seconds for them. Now, we've heard from the Lamborghini team. What about Black Falcon? Let's rejoin Watty.
First of all, Mauro, great overtake on that last lap yesterday.
Yeah, had to somehow do it, and happy that I managed to pull it off before the end of the race, because I think it was important for us.
You're 2 points behind the FFF Racing Lamborghini, but they're back in the 7th row of the grid. Makes your life a lot easier.
Yeah, but like you said, they're 2 points ahead, so we need to have a good race, clean race. Obviously, there's the GT World Challenge points, but there's also the overall points. So our focus is to have the best possible race.
Luca, yesterday you struggled a little bit. Pressures possibly sliding around. Everything going to be okay this afternoon?
Yeah, definitely. We had 2 good days of testing, Thursday and Friday. So yeah, I'm expecting us to be really good in the race. So not much to say. We push, and yeah, we try to go for a podium, and then we count the points, and then we see where we end up.
So will it be a battle of the Mercedes once again?
Yeah, I think so. It's on this track, it's never easy to overtake. So yeah, we have to see. But I think we have a great opportunity starting P4, great qualifying by Mauro, and yeah, we're just gonna race now.
Claw back a few more points.
That's the aim. 3.
3 is enough.
Or at least 2.5.
That's enough.
Thanks.
So the Mercedes team, Mauro Engel will go first. Because Luca Stolz started yesterday's race, they are 4th on the grid. This is how the championship looks. Marco Mappelli, Andrea Caldarelli, 2 points up on Stolz and Engel. And then in the fight to be 3rd, Bortolotti, Engelhardt are just 1 ahead of Raffaele Marciello and Vincent Abril. Now, just to complicate life, the number 63 Lamborghini, Bortolotti and Engelhardt, racing, of course, after an appeal which is due to be heard this week, all to do with Zandvoort. They were excluded from qualifying, appealed that decision, raced therefore from where they qualified. If that goes against the Lamborghini team, it would give 2 more points to Caldarelli and Pirelli and also to Stolz and Engel. So it does slightly distort the situation. However, let's concentrate on where we stand at the moment with the standings. And also let's hear from Dries Vanthoor on the grid with John.
Dries, you've got great one-lap speed, and you're going to need it on this opening lap to try and split the Mercedes?
I'm gonna try. I think it's a long straight to the first corner, so I think there will be some toes, and the people who will be coming out of the toe will have an advantage. So we'll have to wait and see. I think we're a good position for turn 1. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, it's been a difficult weekend for us so far, struggling a bit with the setup, but I think now hopefully we found a good one, and we can try to get past.
Difficult to pass, as you say. You're going to rely on another magic WRT pit stop?
I hope so, because yesterday it was okay, but it wasn't like usual. So hopefully we can.
Can you explain what happened in the pit lane?
Well, I
haven't got time. Get dressed. Get in your car. Time to go.
Well, what happened was, Gov, Dries Vanthoor basically went when he was told, but there was contact as Fred Vervies got into the back of him, having already been in the back of Shea Davies, who'd been released ahead. So both WRT's entries got drive-throughs yesterday for unsafe release. There's Mauro Engel getting ready to go. Silver Cup, Thomas Neubauer, Nico Bastian, 100.5 points to the 91 of Milan Doncia and Mathieu Drudis. Audi and Pro-Am is a bit more straightforward. Phil Keen and Hiroshi Hamaguchi just have to finish, basically. If Rinat Salikov and David Pirelli win, even that isn't enough because there's only 4 starters in the class. So they need to win and the Lamborghini not score, not finish for the Ferrari Rinaldi Racing duo to take the title. So it's one hand on the title really for Keen and Hamaguchi. Silver Cup, as I say, is still up for grabs as you look down at number 90 Mercedes there, which has got Felipe Fraga to go first in this car that he shares with Timo Bogoslawski. Felipe Fraga, who has taken over the entry from Fabian Schiller, who began the season in that car. And the car lining up on the inside of the 3rd row of the grid. Timo Bogoslawski was Silver Cup winner at Misano. Right, let's have a walk up the grid, identify who is who and where they start. Pole position, Vincent Abril in 88, the red and white AKA ASP Mercedes, and then number 63 Lamborghini is going to be started by Christian Engelhardt. On the 2nd row of the grid, you can see number 1, which is the Audi of Dries Vanthoor, and Mauro Engel lining up alongside. On the 3rd row, Felipe Fraga in the number 90 ASP team Mercedes, and a rare visit to sprint events from Dynamic Motorsports. Sven Muller at the wheel of the Porsche. The car was last in the race yesterday after a lap 1 spin, but Sven Muller, very, very quick driver, and he will start 6th on the grid. 7th, Christopher Hasse and Christopher Mies alongside him. There in the blue and white colours for Saint-Eloque, and the bright yellow of WRT is Christopher Mies. Behind them, there is Nico Bastien, who goes first in the Silver Cup Championship, leading AKA Mercedes, and Jim Pla in the Pro-Am entry, sharing with Jean-Luc Bobelic, is alongside him. Then you get to Phil Keen, who leads in Pro-Am in the Championship. From the Silver Cup is the US-based Brit Taylor Proto. Next on the grid, Andrea Caldarelli, the overall championship leader with Marco Mappelli, and Marvin Kirchhofer, winner of the equivalent race at the Nürburgring a week ago with Ricky Collard, is alongside him. Andrea Bertolini and Fred Vervies line up on the 8th row. On the 9th row, number 333, David Pirelli starts for Rinaldi alongside Jamie Green, who was very terror yesterday in his stint, getting up the order. Marcus Winkelhock is on the 10th row with Jack Hawksworth starting in the Lexus. Then you get Rick Brokers, Silver Cup winner this year in individual races, and Dorian Boccolacci, who made his GT debut at the Nürburgring last week, sharing with Stefano Ortelli for Saint-Eloque. Hugo de Sadalier lost a Silver Cup lead yesterday, but he will start today, and Clement Schmidt's Audi a long way back. He's alongside Milan Doncia, fighting in the Silver Cup. He's 2nd in the Championship. He's on the penultimate row with teammate Nick Foster alongside. Shea Davis for WRT is at the back with Wolfgang Triller, who along with Florian Scholze is unassailable in the AM Cup. So that's a title effectively garnered already. He is at the rear of the grid. So it's 1 hour of racing ahead of us on this 4.3 kilometre long circuit. There is the grid. Mandatory pit stops, of course. So you can not only win or lose on the track, you can win or lose in the pit lane, depending on how good your stop is. And so very shortly, the cars will be released. And there's the race, and there are the championships to factor into all of this. As you see there, the dynamic motorsport Porsche Sven Müller, who can score points, and therefore that's significant because it means that if he scores well in this race, finishes well, he can take them away from those that are pitching for championship honours. The pace car as it is blasts away, and now on instruction from the race director, so too does Vincent Abril. Onto the formation lap, then it is of course a rolling start here at the Hungaroring. And Vincent Abril, who came from Seat through the French GT Championship, came really into Blancpain GT racing initially for Bentley in the Endurance Series, but was a Sprint Cup champion as well. In 2015, he's raced at Sepang, he's raced in the German GT Championship, and switching away from Bentley to Mercedes this year. Not been a great season with dramas, with some mechanical maladies, but this weekend, the ACA car has been looking very strong indeed. So we've talked about the overall situation in the championship. What about the Silver Cup? Nico Bastian and Thomas Neubauer, 100.5 to the 91 of Milan Doccia and Matteo Drudi, and just in the mix, Hugo de Sadalier and Aro Vainio as well in 62. Aston Martin, that's had 2 Silver Cup wins this year. They came at Zandvoort. 1 Silver Cup win to Milan Doccia and Matteo Drudi, and the 89 Mercedes Silver Cup victories, twice at Brands Hatch, also one at Misano. But of course that Mercedes, number 89, Nico Bastian and Thomas Neubauer, blew the socks off everybody at Brands Hatch by winning outright. So it was a really impressive start to the season as the cars now head up towards turn 5 on this formation lap. And as far as Pro-Am is concerned, as I say, Phil Keane and Hiroshi Hamaguchi have got one hand on the title because the entry is not as numerous here, and it therefore makes it harder for Salikov and Perel to outscore them. They need to win, yes, but they also really need Keane and Hamaguchi not to finish. So the Triple F, FFF racing team has got one hand on at least one title. That's the Pro-Am competition, courtesy of the quick Brit Phil Keane and the Japanese driver Hiroshi Hamaguchi. We are almost ready to go racing in the final race of the year in the Blancpain GT World Challenge Europe. It's race 2 here at the Hungaroring, and with Wolfgang Triller and Florian Scholz already confirmed as the AM class champions, the field turning their way up towards turn 10. There is 555, which is Taylor Proto, racing here for the first time. He will do the first stint in that car, but this promises to be a very busy race indeed. David Addison and John Watson trackside as the cars now work their way down towards turn 11. Then they'll start to get themselves into that Noah's Ark 2x2 formation ready for the rolling start. And then the all-important run down to turn 1. It's all important because you can gain places, but it's all important, John, because you've got to keep out of trouble on that one.
Yes. Turn 1 is always an area on this racetrack where people will congregate towards the inside of the corner trying to do something that maybe they think the opposition hasn't thought of. Well, they will have all thought of it. But that man there, Dries van Vooren, the number 1 Audi, he's the car that really needs to get somewhere near to the front of the grid on that run down into turn 1. Try to split the 2 Mercedes, but no easy task.
And I'm still fascinated to see what Sven Müller is going to be able to do, starting from the area on the grid where you would expect him to be, in other words, up near the sharp end. And also, what can Christian Engelhardt do on the run to turn 1? He's got to get his elbows out and try and keep people behind him.
Yes, it's going to be difficult because he's on the outside, so he's going to have to find space on the inside as we come up to the start.
Lights will change. The final round of the championship is go. Who makes the best start as they blast down to turn 1? Look at the blue Mercedes. Mauro Engel trying to go for a gap. Gets up alongside the Grasser Lamborghini, gets a face full of the ACA Mercedes of Vincent Abril. Into the lead goes Engelhardt, but he goes wide. Müller is on his tail. It's going to be Abril who comes out ahead. Out wide goes Engelhardt, who is going to be second as they plunge downhill. Who's going to lead as they plunge downhill because they're still side by side. Engelhardt on the inside line has to give way round the outside. Vincent Abril leads the pack. Keeping out of trouble in the body of the field is Caldarelli. And where is Engel in all of this as they drop downhill for the first time? Third, I fancy, is the blue Mercedes as they run up to turn 4.
Very, very busy start, but pretty much a clean start. Everybody got through turn 1 without contact. But look, as they're filing through turn 4, it is single file. You have to be careful. If you get on the outside, as you saw the Mercedes do there, you will run off the racetrack. It gets back into slots back in. But where is Andrea Caldarelli? The 563. He had the sister cars directly ahead of him, and are they going to help in his quest?
Well, that was Fred Vervies being lent on by Andrea Bertolini. Marvin Kirchhofer in the Aston goes through, and Sven Muller gets himself ahead of Dries Van Toor, and there's drama as off goes David Perel. He's got a puncture, he's got a tyre off the rim, so that is in Pro-Am, and that's going to give the championship to Phil Keen and Hiroshi Hamaguchi. Can the car recover, or are we going to have to need a safety car?
Might be a safety car, just depends whether the race director believes that's in a dangerous pace. Andrea Caldarelli looking to try and slip down the inside into turn 12 on the Mercedes. Doesn't quite get it done, but the intent is clear. Caldarelli has to clear this field at the earliest opportunity. The longer he gets bogged down, waved yellow flag coming through turn 13.
Safety car, boards are ready. We go safety car then. At the end of lap 1 of the championship showdown, the safety car will be on track. Through in the lead goes Abril. Second over the line is Engelhardt. Third is Maro Engel. It's Sven Muller 4th, Dries Van Toor is 5th, Frager 6th, Mies 7th, Haase 8th, Bastian 9th, Pla 10th, Caldarelli is 11th, out of the points at the end of lap 1. But, of course, he's got the chance to gain on the restart.
He will have the chance to gain on the restart. It will be actually, believe it or not, marginally easier to try and make a move, to try and get past Jimmy Pla in the number 87 Mercedes, because when you're going single file, there's a lot less traffic around you. He was looking at coming down into turn 12 to make that pass, didn't quite have the momentum off turn 11 to get it done, but that Lamborghini we know is a quick race car. Andrea Caldarelli has everything to gain by making as much progress as possible, but it's a mighty task. Maro Engel currently in 3rd, doesn't need to do any more than that to walk away here a champion.
At the risk of falling into a touring car line, safety cars breed safety cars. They're all bunched up, ready for the restart. Do not be surprised if we have a little bit more contact, a bit more needle, even more drama as on this. Lap 2 of the race then. They head up towards the chicane. Vincent Abril in the lead, and all of this is so we can retrieve David Perel. Really disappointing way for him to end, and that looks like Bertolini with damage and a tyre going down as well.
Yeah, he's got a left rear. You can see bits of rubber already flailing off the rear of the car, so he's going to have to go back into the pits. The 333 Ferrari is off to the left of screen, so that's still being recovered. So it's going to be one more lap minimum, maybe 2 laps of safety car before this 1 hour race, well, 56 minutes and 31 seconds, gets underway once again. Dries Van Toor, who looked like he might be able to get down the inside into turn 1, has ended up being shuffled back, and more critically behind the Porsche, which Sven Muller. That will be no easy car to pass. Porsche's got very strong straight line performance here.
Number 52 Ferrari is going to be overtaken as required by the opposition. That car limping back to the pit lane, so people are allowed to overtake that. Let's have another look at the start. John, talk us through this.
So the Lamborghini and the Mercedes side by side, but watch directly behind. Van Toor thinks he's going to get a run, but it's the Black Vulcan Mercedes. The number 4 Maro Engel, who really did get the best jump of everybody, picks up whatever slipstream it's worth behind the Lamborghini, squeezes Van Toor to the right on the racetrack coming down. Got the Mercedes. Van Toor's got to back out of it because he's going to run onto the grass, and then it's Christian Engelhardt, but just fractionally overruns, allows Vincent Abril to get back, but look how wide off the outside of the track Engelhardt had to go. Here they are, back live pictures as they're all trying to maintain whatever modicum of tire temperature they had built up on that one racing lap, and they don't want to lose it. Pressures are likewise very vital.
Absolutely, as the cars head downhill. There is Andrea Bertolini then into the pit lane, and a new tyre required for that car. Big frustration for Louis Machiels, the co-driver in the AF Corsa entry. So the field heading through turn 3, the climb to 4. Abril from Engelhardt, then Engel, Muller, Van Toor, Frager is the top 6. Philippe Frager is currently leading the Silver Cup part of the race. Jim Pla is the leading Pro-Am, and they're heading back into the race is Andrea Bertolini, hoping to stay, of course, on the lead lap through the chicane, where all weekend we've seen people exploiting the curves as best they can. And Caldarelli 11th, he's going to be on a mission, but he's got some very quick guys ahead of him.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to come down, as I said, to Dries Van Toor in that interview. You're going to really rely, if you ever need a team to do a mega pit stop, to get in and get out. And the other thing, of course, we saw yesterday with Dries Van Toor, he got involved in that unsafe release. So that's something you need to be clear. Your pits need to be clear. If there is a car coming down, is it prudent to hold back and maybe lose 2 or 3 seconds? or throw the dice and think you might just sneak in and get away with it. It's a big call for the team to make. It could be the difference between winning and losing here this afternoon.
The incident with Pirelli is under investigation. Involved in it, Fred Vervish and Marvin Kirchhofer. So it's 3 cars that tangled, and it's being looked at by the officials.
Well, it was a pretty clean start up to turn 4. All the incidents, I think, occurred turn 4 through turn 5, and then this is the exit of turn 7, where we see the Ferrari now have been removed to safety behind those barriers. Yet another safety car lap. Whether the safety car will be advising teams and drivers that it will be coming at the end of this lap, and there is...
That is Taylor Proto down the pit lane. Safety car in this lap. We'll go racing at the end of this lap. The road is clear, so Taylor Proto has picked up damage.
In this lap.
So safety car in this lap, says Alain Adam, who is the race director. It's his call. And there's confirmation. It's on the timing screens for all the teams to relay to the drivers. 5.63. Andrea Caldarelli's target is going to be Jim Pla in the Acker team Mercedes. So same brand, but a different team. And there's only the one Black Falcon car, of course, in the race.
That's the car that's currently running in 3rd place, 2 points behind the championship leader Caldarelli. So you only need 1 car to win this championship, as long as that number 4 Mercedes performed as it did, certainly in yesterday's first 1-hour race. Pretty amazing drive by Maro Engel in very, very tricky conditions. But these are ideal conditions, ambient around about low 20s, track temperature also fine. Maybe it's a bit humid and muggy, but nonetheless, it's ideal racing conditions for everyone.
As the cars then come out of the chicane through the wriggle of turns 8 and 9, then up towards turn 10, where we lost David Pirelli here on the outside of the road, which I think is now clear. Yep, the snatch vehicle has gone. There was a very disconsolate South African driver stood watching. The leaders are out of turn 11, and now they will get themselves ready for the restart. So Vincent Abril will control the pace from here on. He slows it down, he bunches up everybody behind him, and once he accelerates, he's got to keep accelerating. You can't go slow.
He's gone.
And he sprints very early.
I think so indeed. So he's maybe caught Christian Engelhardt, I should say, slightly unawares. Normally I would have thought he would have think about going here on the exit of turn 13, but no, he went on the exit of 12 and has opened up on 3-car advantage, 2-car advantage maybe, as the rest of the field has got to wait until they go across start-finish line before they can make a move. As the number 2 Audi is thinking about, Christopher Mies is thinking about lining up Philippe Froggen. You can see the Mercedes and the Audi on the left of your screen. Mies gets up alongside. Is he going to be able to outbrake the Mercedes? Froggen is no walk in the park when it comes to giving up position.
And Christopher Haase is right there in the blue and white Santilok Audi, trying to get past Mies to the inside of the Mercedes as they drop down the hill there. They're side by side. Christopher Mies goes ahead, but he's on the longer, slower outside line, so Froggen fights back as they drop downhill. There is Caldarelli. He's still on the tail of Jim Pla. In other words, he's not got ahead of Jim Pla as yet, so he's still trapped in 11th place as they blast out of turn 3 now. That's Caldarelli's view. There is the leader, Vincent Abril, in his first year of racing the Mercedes, ahead of Christian Engelhardt, and as yet, Engel has not been able to find a way by.
Way off the racetrack. I mean, I lost sight of him. I thought he was going to Budapest. He was that far off track.
He's got his tourist map out. He's navigated his way back towards the race circuit. Where is he in all of this? How many places has he lost? Only 1, because there, look, Haase is ahead of him. Mies drops back. Look how much curve everybody is using there. And this is Caldarelli all over the back of Pla.
Yes, he's all over the back of him, but that Mercedes is wide, and Jim Pla is not going to give it up. So Andrea Caldarelli has his hands full thinking about, well, I need to do it sooner than later, but I haven't got the opportunity. I can't do it at all. So it was coming out of turn 11 lap ago before the safety car was out. Now again, he looks to think of going down the inside into turn 12. This time he gets a little bit closer, has to take a lot of the curve on the inside, but still Jimmy Pla gives him enough working room, and then a bit of carbon fibre being flicked up, although there was mild contact. So again, over the rear of the 87 Mercedes, up out of turn 13.
Jim Pla, former Formula Renault, Formula 3, GP3 racer, Carrera Cup France front runner before coming into the Acker GT squad, keeping Caldarelli behind him. Vincent Abril leading by 0.8 of a second. Engelhardt is second. Maro Engel is third. Sven Muller is in 4th place as they come across the line. 5th is Ventzel, 6th is Prager. Haase is 7th. In 8th place it's Mies. 9th Nico Bastian. 10th, 11th, 12th. There, Pla, Caldarelli, Keen as Winkelhock gets up the inside of Vervish and goes 13th.
Yeah, that was really more of a defence down the pit straight. Vervish was trying to make the pass. Couldn't quite get it done as we go back to this battle. Currently to be in the top 10. The Mercedes in 10th. Lamborghini in 11th and followed in its wheel tracks by Phil Keen. So he is in effect the rear gunner at this moment to Andrea Caldarelli. So that's going to prevent Marcus Winkelhock, Fred Vervies, even Jamie Green, who are the next cars up on that line of cars, from maybe thinking about making a move if that opportunity might arise.
See how wide the Audis go. Marvin Kirchhofer even wider in the R Motorsport Aston Martin. Back on board with Caldarelli. What progress is he making? None so far. Still stuck behind Pla, still running 11th and out of the points therefore. Big bite of curb taken by the Lambo.
Yeah, in fact, Mercedes likewise, they've got to be careful because, well, they got away with it in the wet conditions yesterday afternoon. I don't think race director is going to be so generous to everybody if they keep cutting across the inside of the chicane at turn 5 and 6.
Vincent Abril leading the race, fastest lap of the race. There he is, but Engelhardt at the moment, look, is being able to fend off Mauro Engel. As long as Engel is ahead of that Lamborghini, things are looking promising, especially with Caldarelli out of the top 10. So for the moment, Engel doesn't have to stress too hard.
In fact, Andrea Caldarelli has dropped back a little bit from the tail of the Mercedes 1 lap ago. It was actually almost kissing the rear bumper. So whether he's decided sometimes it is better to drop back momentarily, if we look at Mauro Engel or at Marco Mappelli, I beg your pardon, drop back that little bit, try and pick up your natural pace and have another run. Running very close behind another car, it does hurt your tyres, it does hurt your cooling. So you can see the gap between 11th and 12th, the sister car, Phil Keane, that's opened up as well. So he's backing up now, this train of 3 Audis running 12th, 13th and 14th. Dries van Thor's getting fed up with the side of that rather attractive showroom colour. Oh, Dries van Thor ran too wide. And again, Philippe Froggen is going to think about, well, opportunity going up at turn 4 for me in the Mercedes. Can I get the run up the hill?
And Vantor's got some damage. Look, the smoke coming from the car. Round the outside goes Froggen. Bodywork against tyre. Vantor way off the road. This is another race unravelling for the Belgian driver. Look, they're streaming past him now.
Yeah, that all happened coming through turn 3 and turn 4. Was there contact with the Mercedes? Is that what's cut a tyre down? Certainly it looked like tyre rubbing against bodywork. And it may well be that left rear has been cut down.
Or was it him running wide that's damaged the tyre because he was on the wrong line? Anyway, we'll get a replay.
Well, if you drop over the sharp edge of a curve, that likewise could cut the inner shoulder. So whatever it was, it's had certainly the detrimental effect. Dries van Thor's run is effectively all over. So a huge disappointment for Dries van Thor, big disappointment for WRT. A car that they thought might be able to do something worthwhile. Podium was their aspiration.
This the first year in living memory, probably in the history of the Blancpain Championship, that WRT is not going to win anything, be it the Silver Cup, a class, an endurance, even the pit stop challenge looks like it's going to go the way of the FFF racing team. Now, with that problem for Van Thor, into the top 10, of course, will go Caldarelli.
Jimmy Pla got a big slap of oversteer coming into the final turn. And on the same lap, notice Caldarelli is that little bit closer. He's quicker off the corner. He's picking up a little bit of speed in the slipstream of the Mercedes. It's going to be a very late call if he's going to think about going down the inside. He's thinking about it, but he's thought the wiser of it. Backs off, but Jimmy Pla made that error. That's what Caldarelli is looking for when he's trying to force the Frenchman into making another little error to give him the opportunity down into turn 2. Again, just shows the nose. Remember, this Lamborghini of Caldarelli's has always been very, very competitive on the entry into corners. We've seen it throughout the season.
We've got a slow car out on track. Marvin Kirchhofer has dropped to the rear of the pack with a problem, I fear. And right now, Vincent Abril is getting away. 1.9 seconds his margin. But Engelhardt to Engel, the gap is down in sector 1. Caldarelli tries to squirt up the inside of Jim Pla. But we've seen this at equivalent corners all season. He's able to have a look up the inside, but not necessarily make the move stick. Yes, he tries, but Jim Pla had the drive out of the corner.
Yeah, and ultimately, it's the drive off the corner. You can do what you want in the corner. If the car that's pursuing you can't get through, you just slow that other car down, and then you're the first driver to get on the throttle, and you can move that little bit further forward. So coming up to turn 12, we're looking at the exit of 11. There is the second place Lamborghini, the third place Mercedes. Mauro Engel just really shadowing Christian Engelhardt. Bit of debris on the road. I think that's probably shredded tyre from the cars that cut tyres down into turn 13.
So Engel hard at work, trying to gain places, gain points. He doesn't necessarily need to push too hard just yet with 44 minutes to go, but he's also mindful that if he can get ahead of the Lamborghini, that could be crucial in that second stint. So over the timing line goes the Black Falcon Mercedes, and the gap second to third, 0.497 of a second here.
Well, Engel saw enough of the back of the Lamborghini in yesterday's race. He finally forced his way through up at turns 5 and 6. That's the chicane. I don't think it's going to be quite so easy. This is a review of what happened to Dries van Thor. Was it contact with the Porsche? Oh, the back end steps out.
There he is,
and
over
now
the curb.
dropping that right rear wheel. Now there was problems there, you can see already, so it was the right rear that was the issue. So could well have been, as you pointed out, that dropping the wheel off the racetrack, those sharp edges to the side of the racetrack, all you need.
And so where is number 1? It has made a pit stop, so Dries van Thor is now down in 25th place out of the hunt. Coming out of turn 5, Maro Engel still pressing on. Vincent Abril leading by 2.7 seconds. Raffaele Marciello, of course, is co-driver, the reigning, in quotes, sprint champion. There is Sven Muller in the Porsche, hanging on a 4th place, but the ACA Mercedes clearing the lead at the moment. Engelhardt still having to defend.
I've just had it in my ear from a Porsche nut that actually is called lizard green.
Lizard green, right.
Viper green is my preferred colour in green, but lizard is the colour of the car racing here right now.
And Sven Muller in 4th place.
Wow,
there he is, way out wide.
Right up cowboy.
Absolutely, so he nearly was with the Vipers and the Lizards there. He was heading bush, wasn't he? Sven Muller 4th, Frager 5th, and Philippe Frager is still leading in the Silver Cup. At 2nd is Nico Bastian, which means they, Mercedes team, Bastian and Neubauer, at the moment are on target to win the Silver Cup in the championship. Looking back here from Engelhardt's car, heading up towards the timing line. Race leader Abril, though, is just storming away, isn't he?
Vincent, you know, he gets that confidence from success. He had a great drive here yesterday, and now clear air. He can drive any part of the racetrack he chooses. He can get his braking points where he wants them, his entry points, get back on the throttle. He's doing little damage, as it were, to the tyres on the car, on the brakes. Maybe overran marginally coming into turn 2. He's got his father here this weekend. His mother, we knew, was watching, and they're passed down into turn 1. So the Lexus goes down 1 slot, the 55 up 1 slot. That's Nick Foster behind the wheel of the 55.
Yeah, up into now 19th place at the expense of the Lexus. There is Shea Davies keeping 56 at bay. Now Milan Doncha a long way back, 22nd place overall, 6th in class, giving up the opportunity to win the Silver Cup here. He's too far back.
We haven't seen it, but Andrea Caldarelli has gone ahead of Jimmy Pla. Just must have happened on the last lap. We were watching some of the action further through the field. So Caldarelli is now, according to the timing and scoring, up into 9th position.
So that would give them 86 points. The Black Falcon Mercedes 3rd, 92.5. Championship advantage Mercedes for the moment.
And he's got rid of one Mercedes. He's now got another one, an even more difficult one to overtake. That's Nico Bastian in the 89. So that will be an even bigger handful for Caldarelli there. We see him in the 563 Lamborghini. So there is Nico Bastian, and well, maybe he can do what he did to Jimmy Pla. Not quite sure which part of the racetrack he made the pass, but certainly this Caldarelli Lamborghini on twisty circuits where you can get the nose of the car tucked in quite early into an apex. If he can translate that into a good exit, then he's going to be in good shape. But slightly different dying and coming through turn 14 on to the quickest part of the circuit, the pit straight.
On to the timing line run they will go. Abril to Engelhardt now 4 seconds. Engelhardt to Engel is 6/10, 2nd to 3rd. And there is Caldarelli, now 9th, pulls out, has a look, trying to unsettle Nico Bastian. But Bastian is busy going for a championship as well, so he's going to be driving a sensible race.
The sensible thing for Bastian would actually be not to be bothered what Caldarelli is trying to do. And if you want to make it easy to make a sort of lift and coast into a corner, give Caldarelli the ground. You know, when you're in your own battles for your own respective championships, step aside if there's another battle going on for another championship, and you can maybe give some assist. Mind you, it's a Mercedes that he's driving, and it's a Mercedes that's in contention for the overall championship.
ACA ASP running Nico Bastian's car. Rival Black Falcon team running the Stoltz Engel entry. Up to the chicane comes Caldarelli. So again, he's in danger of getting stuck now as Christopher Mies rattles over the curb. Everybody rattles over the curb as Lucas Stoltz gets ready, suggesting therefore he's going to jump in at the very opening of the window.
I would be surprised. I mean, I would keep Maro Engel in. Obviously the key will be, we know how difficult it is to pass, so the teams will be working out at what is the most beneficial point to come in and make that pit stop, so that when the second driver gets in behind the wheel, he's not getting bogged down behind cars that are out of position.
And there is Marco Mappelli getting ready. Of course, as far as Andrea Caldarelli is concerned, they could gain places on the pit stops. Don't forget the overall situation. Your pit stop time is as quick or as slow as you do it. It doesn't have to be to a delta time.
And it might well be that the 563 will be one of the early pit stoppers, because just getting slightly out of sync might be the only way that Caldarelli, the 563, the Marco Mappelli Lamborghini can make progress. Down the inside, can he get a pass? And Nico Bastian. Bastian gives him enough room. Will he give him the exit of the corner? Yes, he has. Whoa! Well, just to remind you that maybe I'm not going to be that kind to you, but I think it's... Well, no, he's not. Nico Bastian still deciding now contact that was unnecessary and that should not have occurred. There was no point in doing that because these two cars are in a different race. The concern is, was that going to be a damage to the left rear tire of the 563 Lamborghini with that little bit of contact?
563 also being warned about track limits, so a place gain for Caldarelli. Now he's 11.5 seconds off the race leader, but look at how close things are ahead, and look also at the record of how good the FFF racing team is in the pit stop. That car could gain some of the places when it stops, so might be an idea to get Caldarelli in early while the field are tightly bunched, do the stop, see if they can jump on the pit stops.
That would be the way I would certainly be thinking if I was running the team. Oh, but the way the man who runs the team is actually driving the car right now. He's got a double task. He's got to drive and think about it, but he needs to think about the exit. Well, he's not the only one running wide in the exit of 11. Everybody's doing it. But you have to think about it, because if you do get a penalty, then you might as well just throw all the toys out of the pram and say, oh, well, I'm going to retire my car. I'm not going to continue in this game.
Andrea Caldarelli, the player manager, effectively, in the FFF racing team. It's funded by Chinese enthusiast racer, and it's Andrea Caldarelli that runs the operational side of it. And right now then, as he comes up towards the line, his next target, and you can see how quickly he's closing on him, is the Audi of Christopher Mies. So Caldarelli was 11th, he's now up into 8th place with overtaking and with that drama for Dries van Thor. So 8th gives him 87, but that's still not enough to outscore there the Engel Stolz Mercedes.
And Christopher Mies is not going to be any walk in the park. None of the cars that Caldarelli has had to overtake are going to be easy, but Christopher Mies is probably the more difficult of all of them. He is an outstanding competitor. He knows what he can do in his Audi. He knows how to use his car efficiently and effectively to defend, not block, but to defend a position.
If the Black Falcon Mercedes stays in its 3rd position, this car needs to be 4th to win the championship, because that would give them an equal number of points, and on the tie-break with the majority, with the greater number of wins, 2-1, so the Lamborghini team would win the championship. So Mercedes stays 3rd, Caldarelli's got to get himself up to 4th, tie on points, win the championship on wins, so 4th is the magic number.
Well, I've been there, I've done it, but I haven't written the book yet.
Right now, there's an awful lot for the teams to concentrate on, lots for us to concentrate on as well, as we look at Mies and Caldarelli coming down now towards this stadium behind the pits.
Clearly, Caldarelli is the quicker of these two cars, and he's been able to throw himself up relatively quickly to the tail of the number 2 Audi. You can see Christopher Mies is almost having to wait before he can get back on the throttle. So an opportunity will arise as they get out of turn 14 onto the pit straight. Just how close Caldarelli is. At the point they get straight, and they think about making a move down the inside, will Christopher Mies be, well, cooperative, but well, he's showing intent. That's what is the right thing to do, but the pace of the number 2 Audi is sufficient just to keep it ahead. Second opportunity will come now, down the hill, down into turn 2. We saw the contact that occurred with Nico Bastian a couple of laps ago, but he's not close enough to really make it an effective or realistic pass.
You can see how the championship looks at the moment with the Mercedes crew set to win. If things stay as they are, what are the chances of that happening? Things staying as they are in Blancpain GT racing, limited. There's a lot of shuffling due. Now the pit window opens, and there, look, is Mappelli ready to jump on board as the window opens. So presumably, Black Falcon will cover that. You can see other teams getting ready. Black Falcon not quite out of our eye line from the commentary box window, but I would anticipate, we saw Stolz with his helmet on, they will cover anything that the FFF racing team does and try and get him in early.
I'll tell you what, Caldarelli hopping and skipping and jumping over the curbs. You can't get any closer. Certainly, he's made this racetrack a little bit shorter than his official 3.975 kilometres. He's probably taken about half a kilometre off it.
There's the fight for second. Engelhardt versus Engel. long gone. 6.5 seconds, give or take. Up the road now is Vincent Abril. Real question is, who is going to pit this time? Not the leader, so Vincent stays out for one more lap. Do we see the blue Mercedes peel to the pit lane? The answer is no, but the Lamborghini is in of Engelhardt. So one more lap for Engel. Now, where is Caldarelli? Does the Lamborghini come in? Yes, it does. Caldarelli is in for Pirelli to take over.
Both Lamborghinis, different teams, identical cars, opting for the early pit stop. The Grasser Racing will put Mirko Bortolotti into it. FFF Racing will put Marco Mappelli in. It will be a battle of these two teams in the pit lane to see who can execute that pass. Probably be difficult for the Marco Mappelli Lamborghini to get in and out ahead of this Marco Bortolotti because of the gap that they had on racetrack before they came into the pit lane. But there is the 5.63. Caldarelli has done the best he can. He got that car up into 8th place, having started back on the 7th row of the grid. So Caldarelli out, Mappelli in.
And we know that they make good pit stops. That is the Grasser Lamborghini going.
They had to wait. They were held back momentarily because of traffic coming in. So there is the rear wheel about to go on to the back of Mappelli. So they move, get that car rolling. So wow, Marco Mappelli 0 to 60 kilometers in the space of like 6 meters. Pretty quick.
Okay, so down the pit lane he goes. Let's see what that pit stop time is. 47.5 seconds. They've gained 2.4 seconds. 2.4 seconds gained on the Grasser Lamborghini on the pit stops alone.
Well, that is going to make, I think, the difference between who's going to win this championship and who is not going to win the championship. So Marco Mappelli has got the biggest responsibility. Oh, look at the back of the car sliding around in those fresh tires. Biggest responsibility maybe of his career, because it's now within his gift to max out what Andrea Caldarelli did to try and get that car into a position to defend that 2-point advantage he has.
Race leader is in, but Engel is staying out. So that's going to put the car into the lead of the race. Also in is Haase to give way to Simon Gachet, Mies to give way to Charles Weerts. But a 47.5 second pit stop is now not quite the quickest, actually, because Verviche to Finlay Hutchison 47.2. But 47.5 is what we've got to compare the other leading cars' pit stops against, because that 2.4 seconds gained over the Grasser Lamborghini, absolutely crucial.
So Marco Mappelli on his out lap, and luckily he's got clear air so he can use the best. And hold on, wait, no, that was that a release that was being held back because there was traffic? We cut back to Mappelli. So this is going to be very interesting indeed. Of course, further down the road, we've got Mirko Bortolotti in the 63 Grasser Racing car. They came in at the same time. They were the first two cars into the pit lane. Here is the car that was leading the race, just about exiting the pit lane as the first of the two Lambos. And the gap between first and second really looks as if it's stretched marginally.
Yeah, because that pit stop, well, actually, Marciello, the stop was a 50.2. It's actually slower than the Grasser pit stop. Now there is Mappelli, who gets ahead of the Audi, so he's done it just on the pit stops. He's gained 2 more places, goes ahead of Simon Gachet, goes ahead of Charles Weerts as well.
Well, who said motorsport's an individualist sport? It's not. Certainly at this level, it is all about teamwork, and everybody has done their jobs to get these cars rotated and given Marco Mappelli. We wait to see now for Black Falcon, Maro Engel still. Well, he will be running in the lead. We're waiting for the timing and scoring to catch up.
But significantly, now that Engel has a clear road ahead of him, he's doing personal best laps. So the Mercedes is lapping quicker than it was when it was stuck behind Engelhardt. And that's going to be significant as well. Played out over the stop. But in it comes now. So this is Maro Engel to give way to Lukas Stoltz. The team is ready. We'll keep an eye to the pit stop time relative to the FFF Racing Team stop. Sven Muller will lead the race now from Felipe Fraga, and down the pit lane for the most important pit stop of the season comes Maro Engel.
Cross your fingers, cross your legs. This is the most tense part of this race, because this is going to make or break effectively who will walk out of here. Will it be Black Vulcan, the champion, or will it be this car, the FFF Racing, as it comes through turn 11? So it's still a third of a lap away. And this is going to be a good pit stop from Black Vulcan. They're going to get back out, maybe in second place.
But bear in mind, there was that unsafe release they got done for at the Nürburgring, so it's not done until the car is away cleanly. It's clean now. Blast down the pit lane. 47.5 seconds was the stop for FFF, and that pit stop time is 49.50, 49.7. So they have lost 2 seconds against 563. They still look behind number 63 Grasser as they rejoin the circuit.
Safe but steady, that's what you could say about that pit stop.
So now you've got Stolz third, Mappelli fourth. That's going to give the Lamborghini the championship because they will win on a tie-break. So now Stolz, come what may, has got to get himself up past Mirko Bortolotti.
Which is not going to be an easy task. Mirko Bortolotti in the 63 Lamborghini is always mega. Great to watch and certainly a super driver. But Marco Mappelli, well, we've said it, he knows what he is required to do. If he holds station and he finishes fourth, they will win the championship. What a transformation. Having started all the way down in the 7th row of the grid against the 2nd row of the grid for Black Falcon. They've done everything perfectly, just that pit stop a little bit slower than it could have been.
So in comes Philippe Froggen. It'll be interesting to see where that car rejoins. Timo Boguslavski to take it over. Sven Muller staying out. He will lead. Gianluca Roda not as quick, so even if that car is in the mix when the Porsche rejoins, I fear it would lose places, but we'll wait and see first of all what happens to this Mercedes. But now the message will get through to to Mappelli. You can just sit there and bank the points. That's enough to give us the title, whereas the message for Stolz is push like crazy.
Andrea Caldarelli, well, I mean, he was calm, but I know inside him he was churning away. The pressure, the tension, the stress. I mean, I don't know what he felt like last night, but it must have been one of the most difficult nights of his life, knowing that they'd only had 2-point advantage and they were starting back in the 7th row.
Right, here comes Boguslavski. Is he going to drop behind the Lamborghini? Yes, he is. So that secures 4th then for Caldarelli for the moment as they go down through turn 1, Mappelli, I should say, forgive me. So right now, of those that have made a pit stop, it is Marciello ahead, Bortolotti 2nd, then Stolz 3rd, and Mappelli in 4th place, enough to take the title. And not only that, but also Mappelli is lighting up the timing screen with purple, absolute best sector times.
Oh, by the way, a Porsche is actually leading this race momentarily, and we've got another 2 minutes before the pit lane will close, so I expect the Porsche will be coming in very shortly indeed, as probably will the 90 Mercedes, the 87 and Al. Griezmann 4, as a consequence of the stop, there's the lead car in now.
So here is the Porsche into the pits of Sven Muller, using lots of curb at pit in. This will give the car over to Gianluca Roda. It'll drop down the order, I'm afraid, but it's been a good stint by Muller. But right now, Bortolotti to Stolz, 1.6 seconds, and in the sectors, the gap coming down. We need to see where this car rejoins, of course, but I suspect it will be behind Mappelli.
So an empty pit lane for the Porsche team to go to work, so Sven Muller, excellent job. Just a shame we don't see these Porsche, whatever the configuration they are in these days. This is the rear engine, not the RSR, which is the other version that's raced in other championships, which is now mid-engine.
So it's now all about 3rd and 4th in terms of points. The pressure is on Stolz to gain a position. As long as he's 3rd, they don't win the championship because they will lose out on the tie-break. Down towards turn 1. So you see the Porsche in the pits falling away. So Marciello to Bortolotti, 5.9 seconds. Bortolotti to Stolz, 1.6. Stolz has got to get on with this.
Yes, Mappelli has closed on. That's certainly that fastest sector 1 on the last lap has given him that little bit more momentum. Just needs to ensure that every corner he goes through, he's able to pick up a fraction of a second here, a fraction of a second there. But inevitably, when he catches up to the rear of Lucas Stolz, then he knows he's going to have a battle on his hands. It will not be the easy battle that the number 4 Mercedes had in relative terms. So that took place yesterday afternoon on a track that was going dry, but this is the view Marco Mappelli has got from the driving seat of the Lamborghini up into turns 5 and 6. Not too aggressive on the curbs, both drivers. Wow! Big kick from the rear of the Lamborghinis. He ran over the more serrated edge of the curbing, trying to take more of the racetrack than probably one would ideally suggest, but it's a charge for the championship.
So there, 63, which is Mirko Bortolotti. Bear in mind, as I said on the grid, that there is still this appeal to be heard from Zandvoort. If it goes against Grasser, it would move Black Falcon up a place, it would move the FFF Racing Team Lamborghini up in place, it would give 2 points to the Mercedes. It would give 1.5 points to the Lamborghini. So although we're talking about what we're seeing on track now and a tie-break on points, if that appeal goes against Grasser this week, the championship would go to Black Falcon by 0.5 point.
Well, Maro Engel said, it doesn't matter if we win by 0.5 point. And I thought, well, trying to think quickly on the hoof, what's he talking about? Obviously, that was in the back of his mind that appeal is still yet to be heard. One wonders why it couldn't have been heard, arguably, before we got underway this weekend, but that's another story.
So, although there is the story on the track, the story ain't necessarily over. But right now, Stolz struggling to get himself into a position where he can challenge Mirko Bortolotti. Now, other good battles are going on, including their Kim Louis Schramm, who is about to lose out to Calvin van der Linde. The two Audis, the Attempto Grey versus the Phoenix Red. Down the hill they come. Kim Louis Schramm is on the inside line, but Calvin van der Linde gets the cutback, beautifully done, dives up the inside, job done.
Well, South African Calvin van der Linde, touring cars in South Africa is competitive racing. That's where he grew up. Another formula as well, but well executed, well thought out, well executed overtake from the South African to make that pass. They were side by side, door handle to door handle coming into turn 2, but the racing brain of van der Linde outdid the racing brain, and that's another pass for van der Linde.
So this is how the championship looks if things stay as they are, and it's a tie between the Lamborghini and the Mercedes teams, and the Lamborghini team win on the tie-break because they've had 2 wins to the 1 win from Black Falcon. And Engel will have seen that graphic. He'll know exactly what the score is. So too will Andrea Caldarelli, and the message will be being relayed primarily to Luca Stolz. Push even harder, and push again.
The last lap, Marco Mappelli was fractionally slower, 3/10 down on third place Stolz, so maybe he just backed off a little bit, maybe a small error, maybe being too aggressive on the curbing actually costs him time. Sometimes being aggressive on curbs doesn't always work in your favor. So now he's got to reset, refocus, and use whatever the strengths the Lamborghini has. He's used his set of tires aggressively to get to where he is, and Luca Stolz thinking likewise, well, I've got Mappelli in control, but I want to put myself ahead of Bertolotti. That's going to be another task with 22 minutes remaining.
So down the hill heads Marco Mappelli here, Lamborghini factory driver, and blasts up the hill. Another, like many on this grid, that's come out of single-seater racing. Way out wide goes Bortolotti. Does that help Stolz get a little bit nearer to him? He was 3/10 quicker in the first sector alone.
Well, what I would say to me if I was Luca Stolz is that the back of the Lamborghini broke away. That was a momentary oversteer. He had to correct it. So is the rear of the Lamborghini, in other words, the rear tire, beginning to struggle? Because teams have got a variety of options in what they do with the setups. Some teams go for a lot of camber in the rear. That can hurt the inside shoulder of the tire and lead to tire degradation. Or you can stand it up and guarantee your tire will live all the way through with more continuity.
On board with Mappelli, he can see that now Stolz is getting much closer to Bortolotti. He has gained another couple of tenths in the second sector to the 3/10 gain in the first. And if they both were to get ahead of Bortolotti, the championship would go the way of Black Falcon by 0.5 point. So it's crucial that Bortolotti keeps Stolz behind him from Mappelli and Caldarelli's perspective.
Well, I suppose if you're a conspiratorialist, as I am, you could think of all weird options that might happen to ensure that one team or the other. Andrea's out on the pit wall. Hurry up, Marco, get a move on with it.
He knows that the Mercedes is closing. The gap is 0.8 of a second now between Bortolotti and Stolz. So is the Mercedes bit by bit getting stronger? It's certainly closer. Was that one aberration of a lap from Bortolotti, or is this now a pattern that the Mercedes is stronger than the Grasser Huracan?
Let's have a look and see up at turn 4, because there's a battle going on with the 26th and Simon Palat and Kelvin van der Linde. So van der Linde trying to make another position up, doing the same switch back that he did on Kim Louis Schramm a minute ago, but Palat shuts the door, doesn't allow van der Linde, but the van der Linde is trying to bully his way through, but he ain't getting away with it this time.
He's not. You might have stepped up from GT4, Stephen Palat, he says. I want to come through, and Palat says, no, you do not. So the Santalock Audi keeping the Attempto car at bay. This is a fight for position, and it's 11th at the moment on track that they're squabbling over. Van der Linde again trying to prise open the door. Can he do it? Not quite.
bit like an Audi trophy race. You've got 4 of them all lined up, all trying to find a way through. There's 5 of them in the line as it happens, because you got the Fred Ravish, no, it's not Hutchinson in that number 11 car.
I think we've got something like 8 in a line with a few gaps. So at the moment, the Audi battle: Hutchinson, Pirelli, Van der Linde, Schramm, Trinko, Scotthorst, Compang, Ortelli, Drudy. They're all in a long, long queue. Here is the second place battle. 19 minutes to go. Stolz, who overtake, wins championship. Simple as that.
A long 19 minutes. I guarantee you, Raffaele Marcello, who is way down the road, almost 10 seconds ahead of this squabble now for what's in effect second place in the race, but also the outcome of the championship. Last lap from Mirko Bortolotti was a 1:45.4, 1:45.3 from Stolz, 1:45.1 from Mappelli. So Mappelli back at the races in terms of picking up the pace. So this little battle going on for second place might be relief in one respect for Mappelli, because Bortolotti will not concede. No matter how awkward or difficult his car might be proving. So let's look and see through turn 4. Is the car behaving itself better? Yes, it is. Maybe he's just fractionally slower, not quite on the gas as early as he did a few laps ago. Just everything's smooth. Inputs into the steering, the throttle, the brake, do it smoothly. Don't snatch at it, don't grab at the steering wheel. Don't put extra energy into the car that's going to translate into the tires and therefore lead to degradation.
Stolz 2/10 quicker again in the first sector. Pit stops under investigation. Kirchhoff for Collard's Aston and the Schramm Green Phoenix Audi also being looked at. There is Mappelli hustling on. He knows if Stolz closing on Bortolotti, he needs to be in that group as well. He needs to try and take advantage somehow. Down towards turn 12 they come. To the eye, the gap is looking less each time we see them. But as yet, Stolz not quite close enough to attack. And actually, he's lost out fractionally so in the middle sector this time.
Yes, I mean, that is the function of running behind another car, which you're capable of lapping quicker than. But of course, getting into a position to translate that into an overtake is a very difficult task on this style of racetrack. Mappelli hanging back by about just a second and a half the last time through. This time through it is exactly a second and a half, so he's fractionally lost to Lukas Stolz on that last lap, lap 23, back down into turn 1. Pretty much everything status quo. The gaps between the second and third haven't changed. All right, flash your lights, Luca. Do you think Mirko Bortolotti is going to be impressed by that, or even fazed by it? Not today, he's not.
The gap is down, and Nats wants it, down to 0.6 of a second as a rather nervous Mauro Engel looks on. He can't do anything else now. And as the field accelerates uphill, we are on lap 24 here at the Hungaroring Championship Showdown in Blancpain GT World Challenge Europe. Bortolotti second, Stolz third in the race, and one more overtake from Lukas Stolz would secure them the championship.
Of the 3 cars through turn 4, it was the last one through Marco Mappelli's car that looked the most, I would say, comfortable. The car that was using its tires with the least amount of abuse or even energy. As the 2 Lamborghinis hop across the curb, coming through turn 8 into turn 9, turn 10, up through 11. This is the quick left-hander before. This is 10, this into 11 now. And then the run down, where people always think there's a chance to pass into turn 12, but you've got to really brake so early. It's a tight right-hand corner. You can't get it done unless you're full square alongside the car you're challenging.
And there's no danger, incidentally, of Mappelli losing a place because he's lapping quicker than anybody else behind him. So he's not being caught. He's just got to bank the points and wait and see what pans out ahead. As there, out of turn 14 comes Lukas Stolz once again. Last time the gap was 0.6 of a second. It has been coming down lap by lap by lap. And as he breaks the beam this time, it is 8/10, so it's gone up. He's dropped back just a little. There in the background is 5th Timo Bogoslawski, who leads the Silver Cup part of the race. But have a look at the back of that group. The Mercedes, 8th Thomas Neubauer, championship leader in Silver Cup, champion-elect with Nico Bastian in Silver Cup.
So battles within battles all through the field. 15 minutes of this 1-hour event remaining. And still, well, there are the possibilities, but Bastian and Neubauer have it all but done and dusted. Race leader Raffaele Marcello over 11 seconds now, and really it's a cruise in the sun here. The sun is finally coming out at the Hungaroring. It's been a bit of a wet and dull weekend so far, but this is the conclusion to a great championship on an ideal afternoon.
And could you ask for anything closer than a tie break for the overall situation? Stolz ahead of Mappelli, the gap 11 tenths. Bortolotti ahead of Stolz, that gap 8 tenths of a second. Stolz was closing, now dropping away. There's a last warning to Stefan Ortelli's car about track limit abuse, but nothing like that to put the fear into Bortolotti there. Second as wide he goes, and even wider Stolz, and even wider Mappelli in 4th place.
They're all beginning again to Concertina in the last third of the circuit, so into turn 12. That's the view from Lucas Stolz, and not able to really make any progress other than fractions here and fractions there. At the minute, the fractions are going slightly more favourably towards Lucas Stolz, but not sufficiently significant to change any possibility coming on to pit straight. So again, as they come up to complete lap 26, nothing's changed, second, third to fourth.
Gap from 8 tenths down to 7 tenths between Bortolotti and Stolz, but he's still not close enough to attack. He has not been near enough to attack. He might have closed a touch, but not enough to really start to threaten Bortolotti.
Mappelli has closed down. He's taken about 3.5 tenths out of Lucas Stolz in that last lap. So he is once again on a run. Closes up to the back of the Mercedes fractionally. I mean, it's almost difficult to tell even visually. It's a stopwatch differential up the hill, up into turn 4. Look at the back of the Lamborghini. Is it nice and stable on the exit? Yeah, it looks pretty good. The Mercedes is visually quicker as the two cars exit out of turn 4.
So there, out of the right at 5, they come up towards the chicane. Stolz now running out of options, but is he quicker in sector 1? He is. Done that before. Brings the Mercedes back into the mix as you look back from the Grassa Lamborghini. There is the blue Black Falcon Mercedes closing up once more. Stolz trying to hustle Bortolotti along, but Mirko Bortolotti, of course, wants the best result he can get for his car, and that's going to be second place in the race against, of course, Abril and Marciello, who are leading and are going to be third in the championship because they're going to outscore the Lamborghini duo.
Stolz right now on the rear there. You can see tension in the Black Falcon pits. So they wonder, is this going to be an opportunity? Is it going to be a high-risk opportunity? But look how close Stolz has managed to close down in the space of 1 lap. Wow, he's going to be thinking about a pass as they come out of the final turn onto pit straight into turn 1.
He's got to start here, got to fire the gun now, but the Lamborghini, which is good on aero, is against the grunt and go Mercedes. Over the timing line they go. It's down to 0.389 of a second. Is Stolz near enough to dive up the inside at turn 1? He's not. The gap is certainly down, but Bortolotti still has the advantage. So Stolz now is in touch, and that's really, I suppose, the first proper push that he's had.
Yes, that's the first opportunity Stolz has really looked like putting a pass on the 63 Lamborghini, and that's dragging along Mappelli in 4th place. He's now sitting watching, because this will be ultimately the make or break of the 563's championship hopes. If the 4 Mercedes gets ahead of the 63 Lamborghini, championship victor in the blue Mercedes, I have to think.
Absolutely right. So pressure is on Bortolotti, rival Lamborghini team, but for the brand, is he going to defend? He's not, of course, driving for the same team as Caldarelli and Mappelli, but he does want to look after Lamborghini's interests. Up towards the chicane they come. Gap down under braking then. Stolz right onto the back of Bortolotti as they leap over the curbs.
While all this is going on, Stolz and Bortolotti are fully focused on defending. Mappelli's sitting there, and you know, sometimes third in a line is the car that actually will be the one that will be the beneficiary, because your focus is not on the car behind you in the case of Stolz, it's the car ahead of him, which is Bortolotti. So Mappelli easing closer. It's now just under the second as they come down into turn 12. 10 minutes to go.
And so now Stolz has to try and start the move again. Look, as he closes right up, coming into turn 13. He needs a good run up the hill. He needs to be close heading onto the pit straight and then see if he can get a toe down towards turn 1. But if anything, I reckon he's dropped back a little bit this time. He's not as close as he was a lap ago, and he's running out of time. 10 minutes on the clock. Over the line they come. What have we got? 5 laps, maybe 6. Through they go. The gap was 3 tenths. It's up to 6 tenths. So this time around, Stolz unable to think about a move.
But look at the gap between second and third and fourth. So Mappelli has got that down to, it was 7 tenths as they came across the line, back into the FFF Racing team. And Caldarelli is almost trying to, by telemetry, not by telepathy. Telemetry is the engineering side, it's telepathy, trying to get Marco Mappelli to magically find a bit more pace, get ahead of the number 4 Mercedes to consolidate our position and win the championship. There you can see on screen how much over the last 3 laps the 563 Lamborghini has taken out of the number 4 Mercedes.
Tense times for everybody, and the gap again, second to third to the eyes down. While all this is going on, Raffaele Marciello is leading by 13 seconds, and it was one of the slower pit stops that they did, 50 seconds compared to the 47s, 48s, 49s of those behind. And yet with all the squabbling, second, third and fourth, Raffaele Marciello is driving away into the distance, the outgoing sprint champion. Here, second, third and fourth, still Stolz pushes Bortolotti. 9 minutes on the clock now. Well, he started with 20 odd and he couldn't find a way by, and time is disappearing fast. Options are disappearing fast.
Options all round. Any one of these 3 cars could end up second or third, even in some cases possibly fourth. But Mapelli now as close as he has been at any point to the rear of the number 4. And is he going to seriously think about trying to make a move on Lukas Stolz, who has focused so much on trying to get ahead of Mirko Bortolotti in the 63 Lamborghini? So Mapelli now is going to give something for Lukas Stolz to really get his head around, because he has to challenge the 63, but think about Mapelli coming up close.
As long as Stolz is defending, he's going to drop back from Bortolotti. The gap is up again. Look to 7/10 of a second, and then it's 6/10. Stolz to champion-elect Marco Mapelli down through turn 1. 8 minutes to go, and right now, just sitting there, banking the points, winning on a tie break. The FFF Racing Team Lamborghini looking good as they drop down through turn 2 now.
You can see the way that this particular Lamborghini works so well. They can get it into a corner slightly earlier and maintain good front end bite. The front end isn't washing out, but at the same time they've got a car ahead, the Mercedes number 4, and that's going to take away a little bit of your front aerodynamics, and also of course you're running closer temperatures, front tire temperatures, even your water and oil temperatures are things you have to monitor. Be careful that you don't get into a danger zone. All 3 cars really covered by the metaphorical handkerchief.
So on board here with, once more, Marco Mapelli, and in the first sector he was quicker than Stolz, and in fact Bortolotti was quicker than Stolz on this lap. Raffaele Marciello, it's another of those races that makes him think, if only, if only, if only, because the car has been quick and bulletproof this weekend, unlike a fair chunk of the season.
And Raffaele will go and say, it's easy, no problem, perfect car.
Marco Mapelli might be pretty complimentary about this Lamborghini if he can hang on to win a championship, and Lukas Stolz frustrated because he just can't quite drag himself near enough to Bortolotti. He's dropped back again on this lap. Are we seeing the championship ebb away, the hopes ebbing away?
Well, Stolz slowish on the entry, turning a slightly different line to Mapelli, and Bortolotti maybe eased out another fraction of a, well, the gap as they came across the line was just under a second, and now it's less than half a second, third to fourth.
But does Mapelli attack? He's going to have a go. If he can get ahead, of course, then that's absolutely game over. What he doesn't want to do is get himself in a battle where there's any contact and risk not scoring, risk losing places. Down to turn 3 they come.
If there was contact, potentially the bigger loser would be the number 4, because that's the car that currently is 2 points behind. So it's not in anybody's interest in these 2 cars to get together.
Absolutely, as they come up through turn 3, the climb to 4, the scene of where we had Nigel Mansell seize the lead of a Grand Prix in the early days of a Hungarian Grand Prix. And now to turn 5 there, Lamborghini, Mercedes, Lamborghini, second, third, fourth. Through they turn. Mercedes leading the way, but the ACA ASP car dominant here. 14 seconds to the good. Gap down a little bit coming into the chicane. Stolz pushing again now.
So all 3 know this is 5 minutes and a little bit more on the table, so they've got the best part of possibly complete this lap and about 3 laps beyond. So Bortolotti's pretty much driven a wheel-perfect race to defend during his stint from the quicker Lukas Stolz, but being quicker doesn't mean you can get overtake. And Mapelli now kind of resigns to the fact that as long as Stolz doesn't get through, that's where we're going to finish. So up out of turn 13, Bortolotti again just places the Lamborghini precisely where he wants. The wider entry for the number 4 Mercedes against Stolz. Whether he's got an issue with the initial turn in or not, maybe that's his preferred option, back into the garage of the respective championship contenders. You can see the tension on the face of Caldarelli, the tension on the face of Marco Mapelli on the brakes down into turn 1. Stolz, again, you can see a little bit of understeer when he turns the wheel. That's just precluding him being able to pick up the throttle as early as he needs to do to get that extra bit of thrust out of turn 1 down into turn 2.
So can this Mercedes get past Bortolotti? If they both got past, the Mercedes would win the championship by half a point. Of course, at the moment, it looks like the best hope that Stolz and Engel have, and it's a shame it's going to be post-season, is this appeal against Grasser Racing Team. And if it goes against the Lamborghini there, and the car's excluded from the result, then the points gained would give the Mercedes team the championship. There are loads of ifs and buts and maybes. Second, third and fourth, 4 minutes to go on track here.
I think that Luca Stolz is struggling a little bit. We've seen a lot of understeer in some of the longer corners, whereas the pursuing Lamborghini seems to have a better balance overall. And certainly in turn 1 and turn 2, Luca Stolz was having to hold back before he could get on the throttle. And that's letting Pirelli yet again draw closer to the back of the number 4 Mercedes. But I mean, it's just where are these cars running at this competitive lap pace? They're both running in the middle. 1 minute 45 is the quickest lap of the 3 of this last lap. Actually, it was Luca Stolz, in spite of what I think is a marginal lack of front-end bites.
But he is a little bit nearer than he has been, so he's having another go. And really, he's got to catch and make the move. He can't just sit in the dirty air for lap after lap after lap. He's got to try and close and make the attack in quick succession. Here he is, through turn 14. 3 more minutes, 2 more laps we still have, but if he can't do it yet, I fear he's not going to do it. Stolz over the timing line. Bortolotti is ahead by 7 tenths. It's gone up.
Yeah, it's unless something is to an unknown factor. Let's say it starts to rain, which it isn't going to do. It needs something of a biblical proportion to make any potential difference to these 3 cars with just under 3 minutes of this race remaining.
Down the hill they come again then. Pirelli 4th, champion-elect. 4th is enough. On the tie-break, remember, to beat the Black Falcon team. And Maro Engel will be rueing the fact that maybe, if he'd have just pushed a little bit harder in the first stint and got past Engelhardt, things could be different. But they tried so hard this weekend, came here behind on points, closed the gap yesterday. They were perhaps always going to be the outsiders as Pirelli inches up onto the tail of the Mercedes again, coming out of turn 5 there.
So I think it's the respective variations between the different configurations, the mid-engine, rear-engine Lamborghini, the mid-engine, front-engine Mercedes-AMG GT3. So each car, the Mercedes is the nicer looking from the perspective of what the camera's seeing from off the track. But when you're sitting behind the wheel, it's the 563 Lamborghini that appears to me to be the one that's got the ultimate best balance at this phase of the race, just under 2 minutes remaining.
And those are faces that are no longer tense, but rather demoralised because they've realised it can't be done, or it's unlikely to be done, at least with a lap to run.
I mean, well, I don't know what to say. The disappointment, we have all experienced levels of disappointment. Phil Keane there standing by, supporting his teammate as they come into turn 4 before the final lap, turn 14.
And of course, it's going to be 2 championships for the FFF Racing Team. Phil Keane will win Pro-Am with Hiroshi Hamaguchi, and overall Blancpain GT World Challenge Europe honours as they start the last laps of the 3rd of these cars. Marco Pirelli and Andrea Caldarelli then is down to turn 1. Almost at the end of the lap so far ahead is he, Raffaele Marciello. 16 seconds is the margin. Monster gap. Excellent drive by Vincent Abril and Raffaele Marciello. They have not put a wheel wrong across the 2 races. They're going to do the double here. There they are. 88 Mercedes now makes the run up through the right-hander of turn 5, and this is going to be the only time this year that the same car wins both races.
Well, what a difference a week makes, because last weekend at Nürburgring they were struggling. The car was way out of its regular position, but this is the final lap. Pirelli looks, he's thinking, well, if I do have an opportunity, do I want to force it? Or because Stolz looks like he hasn't got anything left in the tank to challenge Bortolotti for that 2nd place, am I going to just be conservative? Maybe I shouldn't have used that phrase, but anyway, think about what I want to do rather than maybe overreact.
4th will do it, and they're counting down the corners here because as they come into turn 11, Luca Stolz is going to be 3rd in the race. That will give him 92.5 points. Marco Pirelli is going to be 4th. That will give him 92.5 points. A tie-break for the title. A double win this weekend for ASP for Raffaele Marciello and Vincent Abril to win the final race in Blancpain GT World Challenge Europe here at the Hungaroring. But for the championship, it is going to be decided on a tie-break. The Porsche has stopped in the background. third in the race for Lukas Stolz and Maro Engel is not enough, because with 2 wins to the one of the Mercedes, the championship goes to Andrea Caldarelli and Marco Mappelli as the Lamborghini comes across the line, and the delight is plain to see. Emotions erupt, all of that tension is gone, and Maro Engel, almost with his head in his hands, has seen the car come so close to the title and denied by a tiebreak.
Well, you can just see in the Lamborghini pit the emotion. It'll be tears. It is tears. I mean, coming from the 7th row of the grid to finish 4th, mighty fine effort by both drivers. But I mean, you have to think about all the guys in Black Falcon who did a superb job yesterday in the rain to finish 2nd, and then to have to start, and then, well, by what, on a count back on number of victories. I don't know what to say. I just feel for both teams. Pleasure for one and huge disappointment for the other.
Lukas Stolz, Maro Engel, so near and yet so far, weren't they? What a season it has been. Amazing racing. And there, the winners this weekend, Raffaele Marciello and Vincent Abril, and Andrea Caldarelli absolutely beside himself, because from a pretty unprepossessing grid position, it has all come right, hasn't it?
Absolutely, and I mean, it just goes to show that regardless of where you are on the grid, there will always be opportunities. You have to make a lot of them yourself. Others will come to you through circumstances that are beyond your control. And that's the point where you may benefit from somebody's misfortunes. But certainly they had a mighty task to accomplish, and they have done it.
Well, let's hear from new champion Andrea Caldarelli. He's with Nicky Shields.
Andrea, obviously emotions are running high right now. Huge congratulations. You know, the start of today, things were not looking good. You were starting down in P13, but you guys, yeah, enjoy these celebrations. It's a moment to be treasured. But yeah, everything was really against you today, wasn't it? But it was a superb start, superb pit stop, and a fantastic second half of the race. Tell us how you're feeling.
Well, you can see from my face, that's been the most long 30 minutes ever. We know that it was very difficult, like starting P13. I was really, all my stint I was like this. I tried to like push everyone, everything, what I could do. And this win goes to the guys. It's all this crew has been amazing all year. So that's all to them.
I mean, how does it feel, obviously, being the inaugural champions of the Blancpain GT World Challenge Europe? I mean, that makes it even more special, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely. It makes I still cannot believe it, thinking about how we started the season with 3 cars, with so many people, and it was really tough at the beginning, but then, you know, working hard, they work so hard, and I think they really deserve all of them.
And also, let's not forget, you're also champions in the Pro-Am competition, so you've really got a double celebration today.
Yeah, Hiroshi did an amazing job. Again, he proved, I think he's the best out there so far that I know, so he deserves everything. Phil did an amazing job all year with him, and you know, it's very nice to finish the championship like this.
Oh, it is indeed. Well, go and enjoy the celebrations. Very well deserved. Thank you very much.
So Andrea Caldarelli, who operates this team for Fusong Yang, he's the man, he's the FFF bit, he's the money behind it. And Andrea Caldarelli bringing the team to European honours, the team winning in Blancpain GT Series Asia last year with Dennis Linder, Martin Koderic, but an excellent result. Andrea Caldarelli has had all the stress of running a team, putting a team together. It's probably a relief to get the crash helmet on and get in the car and shut the door and divorce yourself from all the other aspects of running a team.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't imagine the pressure that is involved in being responsible for the team, let alone for being I suppose, the principal driver within that 563 driver lineup.
Their nearest house is Nico Bastian, new Silver Cup champion, and Lukas Stolz. He says, well, so near and yet so far. Vincent Abril, race winner, and there is Christian Engelhardt walking over. Andrea Caldarelli is on his way up the pit lane. Totally different emotions in that gang of people compared to Black Falcon, where the mood is pretty black.
I mean, it's a horrible feeling. You're on the point of doing something which you've worked very, very hard for over quite a long season, and it all comes down to the final round, the final 1 hour race, and to some degree it was beyond your control. a lot of it you can do. The pit stop is obviously an opportunity for everybody to try and get in and out as cleanly and quickly as possible. If they'd only gotten ahead of Mirko Bortolotti on that second stint, we wouldn't be looking at the joy and cheer in the FFF Lamborghini racing team.
Bortolotti's stop was only 0.2 slower than Stolz, but still wasn't enough to enable the Mercedes to jump ahead. So now the discussion will be, well, should we have made more of an attack in the first stint? Could they have made more of an attack in the first stint? A very happy Giorgio Sana there with Marco Mappelli, and then Andrea Caldarelli arrives on the scene to congratulate his co-driver, his teammate, his fellow champion here in Budapest. A season full of drama, a weekend full of drama as well. And Marco Mappelli also pretty emotional. Former Formula Renault racer, Formula 3, Ferrari Challenge, Italian GT, Carrera Cup, you name it, he's been there, he's raced it.
He did a good job. He had a lot of pressure upon him. He had a lot of responsibility. Of course, by finishing fourth in the race, he doesn't get into Parc Fermé. And that's why we're seeing Marco Mappelli and Andrea Caldarelli walking down the pit lane. There is their car. It's not in Parc Fermé as such. That's a little bit towards the entrance into the pit lane, but that is the championship winning car.
So Marco Mappelli, very happy man indeed, understandably so. And there is the Champions Trophy. But let's hear from the race winners, Raffaele Marciello and Vincent Abril with Nicky.
Well, here we are again. It's like deja vu. Congratulations. Second win of the weekend. I mean, what an achievement.
Yeah, that's the perfect weekend. 2 poles, 2 wins, mega car. Really, I can't thank the team enough because, you know, as we touched on before, we had a difficult start of the year, but that's when you recognize all the good effort that we put in, still kept faith and kept going, and now, yeah, we're very happy.
Were you aware of the championship battle that was going on behind you, or were you just focused on your own race, stay out of trouble, and keep your head clean?
Obviously, you know what's going on, and but at the start, it was really tough with the Lamborghini because they're really quick in the straights, so to hold the lead was a mission already, and it was very fair and clean with Christian, and you know, top drivers like this, it's nice to race each other. So it was tough in turn 2. I was really close, but that's good racing, and then when I put the hammer down, it was good. The pace was mega, and I was happy.
And of course, you know, thanks to this win, you're now third in the championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, to be honest, we didn't really think about it going into the weekend. We just went race by race and wanted to end on a high, and I think we definitely did that today, and yeah, very happy, very, very happy.
Fantastic end to the season. Vincent, congratulations.
Delighted, Vincent Abril, bravo. Somewhere in all of that is Raffaele Marciello. Let's look at the race result. First of all, a win, the second of the weekend for the 88 ACA ASP Team Mercedes of Raffaele Marciello and Vincent Abril, ahead of Marco Bortolotti and Christian Engelhardt. Lukas Stolz with Mauro Engel third, Marco Mappelli, Andrea Caldarelli fourth. They tie on points. Marco and Andrea, the champions. Timur Bogoslavski and Philippe Froggen fifth to win the Silver Cup in the race, ahead of Simon Gachet and Christopher Hasse. Charles Wirtz and Christopher Mies seventh, from Thomas Neubauer and Nico Bastian, who win the Silver Cup in the championship. Aro Vainio and Hugo de Sadele are up to ninth from the back of the grid, ahead of Calvin van der Linde and Clement Schmidt. Kim Lewis Schramm 11th with Jamie Green, Fred Vervies 12th with Finlay Hutchison, and the top dozen giving fantastic racing, as you would anticipate. Let's, however, catch up with drivers and Nicky.
Guys, it's obviously always good to be on the podium, but not quite at the top spot today. Are you pleased with the result?
Yeah, reasonably happy with the weekend. I think you cannot be sad when you go home with 2 podiums on a weekend. So quite happy with that. An exciting race for sure. There was a chance to take the lead at the start. I really gave it my all, and we were side by side for 2 corners. But to be honest, I think the red Mercedes had a lot of pace today, and it would have been tough to keep him behind even if I stayed in front in the first lap. So I don't know, we did everything. We had a perfect car today. I drove my ass off. So. Finished P2, happy with that, and obviously congratulations to FFF, Andrea and Marco for winning the title. I think it was really close, 0 point difference.
I think, Christian, what you meant there is you drove really hard. Marco, as did you. I mean, it was a tough day today, but you really did give it your all.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a shame. We were obviously aiming to get the win this year. We couldn't manage to get a win, but we finished, I think, 4 or 5 times on the runner-up spot, and it's the 5th podium of the last 6 races for us, so I think that we can be really happy. It's a shame for the beginning of the season where things were quite unlucky for us, especially in Misano. We lost so many points and obviously threw us out of the game. But huge thanks to that team. Really proud of my guys. They all did an amazing job this year once again. And if we get a chance, we'll come back next year and try again.
Excellent. Well, watch out. You're about to get wet with champagne. Thanks.
Well, hopefully they will be back next year. The Grasser Racing team has been a mainstay of GT racing and very successful, but of course FFF has come along with Andrea Caldarelli and Marco Mappelli there and really been the benchmark Lamborghini squad, and now indeed the benchmark GT team, because there are your provisional champions. So a weekend of drama, and you can't ask for much more than a tie-break, can you, John?
No, I mean, you couldn't have a more tense finish. the principal protagonists absolutely nose to tail when the checkered flag came out.
There you are on the points, 92.5 for Marco Mappelli and Andrea Caldarelli, and Luca Stolz and Mauro Engel. 2 wins against the 1. The champions are the Italians. Raffaele Marciello and Vincent Abril move up to 3rd with lots of what-ifs in their minds. Mirko Bortolotti and Christian Engelhardt without a race win, 4th. Christopher Hasse, Simon Gachet, 5th. Charles Weert was a race winner, as indeed were Christopher and Simon. Charles Weert and Dries van Thor, they are 6th and 7th, respectively. Ricky Collard and Marvin Kirchhofer took outright wins, as also did Nico Bastien and Thomas Neubauer. Fascinating to see the different number of drivers' combinations that have scored victories. And you know how competitive it is if there are so many, and yet the likes of Bortolotti and Engelhardt can't manage a win.
I mean, I'm really scratching my head. I mean, they didn't win one event this year. I mean, it's hard to believe. I know they had a difficult start, and that obviously puts you in the back foot. You've got to claw back and almost reform, regroup, and they still haven't won the race. And I'm surprised. I'm disappointed because they're a super lineup and a great pair of drivers. And
there are the trophies ready for the podium to get underway. And we've had the pit stop challenge podium already, and the drivers very shortly are going to be brought up onto the podium with the overall top 3 in the race being up there first, and then we will have the overall championship situation to come at the very end. So for 3rd place, Luca Stolz and Mauro Engel being called forward onto the podium, as we have confirmation of the race result once more. Raffaele Marciello and Vincent Abril, the winners from Mirko Bortolotti and Christian Engelhardt. Luca Stolz and Mauro Engel taking that 3rd place. But the drivers are there. Luca Stolz and Mauro Engel there for their 2nd place in the race. Christian Engelhardt and Mirko Bortolotti. And there, Jérôme Policon, the man behind ACA ASP, racer himself, steps forward as the winning team. And then for the top step of the podium, his drivers, Raffaele Marciello and Vincent Abril, 2 out of 2 here in Budapest.
Congratulations, gentlemen. Thank you very much. The trophies will be presented by Mr. Jafra.
So there we have the drivers, and now the trophies are going to be presented to the winning drivers.
For the 2nd place team, GRT Grasser Racing Team, Mirko Bortolotti and Christian Engelhardt.
And so there, trophies to Mirko Bortolotti, Christian Engelhardt, and then Raffaele Marciello and Vincent Abril. Just a perfect weekend for them.
Yes, I mean, it's been a long time coming, and to have that level of control over the rest of the field. A horrible day yesterday with very difficult conditions, ideal conditions today. So one thing is for sure, ACA ASP have got that number 88 Mercedes back at the races big time. Raffaele Marciello, uber cool Italian. Vincent Abril, a much more emotional young man at Monegasque. His dad was here, spoke to me this morning. He was over the moon with the result yesterday. His mum had been watching our broadcast back at home. She'll be over the moon this afternoon.
And there, Marion Kaksha, who is the Blancpain GT World Challenge Europe event manager, steps forward today to hand over the checks to the drivers. And a huge amount of work has been put in from her side to make the season such a success.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a family more than a team, and there's so many people involved in putting together not just the actual race itself, but all the events that are going in and around it, and of course the presentations and the magnificent trophies for all 3 There's a bit of a champagne shower and bath. Not a lot of enthusiasm, and that's fully understandable for Maro Engel and Lukas Stolz. They will be most disappointed of all the three groups up on the podium. They've seen that potential win taken away. Equal points for both teams, but overall, that number 563 won more events.
But of course, there is still this appeal to be heard. Maro Engel there, just trying to let everything soak in and just take stock of everything they put into the weekend, but to no avail. But if that appeal goes against Grasser, it does, ironically, help the Black Falcon team against their rival Lamborghini squad.
I mean, I hold the view, and I know that there are reasons why these things do happen at the time they do happen, but I like to see events. The outcome of an event is the event result, but there we are. We can't do much about this one.
Now, let's see if we can hear from Lukas Stolz and Maro Engel. Hugely disappointed. Nikki can charm them for us.
Well, Maro, Luca, I mean, obviously it's great to be up here on the podium, but I'm sure there's a little bit of disappointment for you guys today. It was a real challenge and you gave it everything.
Yeah, definitely. It's probably the saddest third place we've had. Yeah, we did give it absolutely everything, and it's a shame. The team really deserved it. They worked so hard for this, but that's sports. I mean, to end up on level points is just incredible. I guess we lost it in the last weekend, when we had, I think, everything in our hands, and yeah, made some mistakes as a team in the pits. But yeah, can't go back. Focus forward. We're now leading the overall again, and our aim is to clinch that title.
Okay, thanks very much, guys, and we'll hopefully see you next season.
It's a valid point that Maro makes. I mean, we're talking about championships being decided today, you know, on that last race, but points are lost across the season. Well, a few here, a few there, it would have been different.
But I mean, think back to Nürburgring 1 week ago, an unsafe release, contact with a car coming in. That's the penalty, and that's what Maro Engel's referring to.
Yeah.
Those are the minute details that the team have got to control. They're the ones that say, go, 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 and that judgment clearly was an incorrect judgment, and the consequences are Engel and Stolz standing there, now losing this championship.
Oh, the Silver Cup drivers, Aravagno and Hugo de Sadelier for second, for third. For second, Nico Bastian, Thomas Neubauer, and there Philippe Froggen and Timo Boguslavski. Another victory for ACA ASP. What a weekend. They're going to have excess baggage to take home here. Jerome Policon puts his cap back on. It was the French national anthem you heard for the French ACA ASP team. Philippe Froggen and Timo Boguslavski have worked very well together. A good combination. They've had a good weekend too.
Well, an interesting one, a Russian and a Brazilian. You wouldn't think they would make naturally good teammates, but it's worked very well.
In a German car for a French team. Yes.
Yeah, Boguslavski has learned a great deal, I think, from Philippe Froggen with that very ebullient Brazilian style and personality and joie de vie generally.
And this Silver Cup, to get the young guns, the quick young pro drivers together, has been a real success, hasn't it?
Absolutely, and I think there's going to be a queue of them lining up to get involved next year in this championship.
So there the drivers, Aravagno, Hugo de Sadelier, missing out on the title. The drivers that are on that second step in the largely white and with the red and the black overalls, namely Thomas Neubauer and Nico Bastian, the Silver Cup champions, and of course they won a race outright at Brands Hatch, which blew everybody's mind.
Absolutely, I mean the Silver Cup winning, and I mean Brands Hatch demanding racetrack at the best of times, but again another circuit that you get position, you get good pit stops, you get good track position, you can defend your position cleanly and fairly. They won that race, a Silver Cup car winning a race.
Absolutely, now the celebrations get underway for the race podium in Silver Cup, and there you see Thomas Neubauer going to this new way of just banging the bottle on the floor and letting it explode to shower the champagne.
Well, it's a relief. You know, this championship, this World Challenge, Europe has come to conclusion here in Budapest, and beautiful day, perfect racing conditions, and mostly a clean race all the way through the field. There was a little bit of contact early on. Tires got cut down. The 333 Ferrari on the opening lap, it got out of the race midway around that lap. So Andries van Voor, of course, likewise getting maybe just being over enthusiastic going around the outside of turn 2, and consequently maybe cutting that tyre down on the inside shoulder as it dropped off the edge of the curb.
So well done to our victorious drivers making their way off the podium, and a fantastic way to end the season. Ultra competitive, incredibly close action, and this is how the Silver Cup looks at the end of the season, with Nico Bastien and Thomas Neubauer taking the championship from Hugo de Sadeleer and Aro Vainier second, Milan Doccia and Mathieu Drudi losing second in this last race. Nikki, who have you got?
Nico Bastien's champions of the Silver Cup today. I mean, how good does it feel to be standing up here celebrating?
It's mega nice. I could win the Endurance Cup and the overall Silver Cup last year, but the Sprint Cup was missing, so that was definitely on my list. And now we made it together with Thomas. He did his first season in GT3, so for him it's super important, this achievement, and for me as well for sure, but it was another very good year with AK ASP, with a very good teammates. I had a lot of fun and a great achievement.
Excellent. Another one for the trophy cupboard. Congratulations.
Yes, thanks.
Great season for Nico Bastien. And so there, the reaction of the new Silver Cup champion. Of course, the Blancpain GT Challenge is not over because the Endurance Cup will be resolved at Barcelona at the end of September. At Pro-Am in GT World Challenge Europe, though, Phil Keane, Hiroshi Hamaguchi, they always had one hand on that title, and they come through victorious with Renat Salikov and David Pirelli. Sadly, of course, eliminated on that opening lap of the race. Jim Plough taking third, ahead of Andrea Bertolini and Louis Machiels, from Jean-Luc Bobelic, from Mauro Ricci, Neil Stevenart, and Stefan Ortelli, who had a number of co-drivers across the course of the season. Drivers then for the Pro-Am podium. There's the redoubtable Jean-Luc Bobelic. You'll also find Wolfgang Triller and Florian Scholzer there at the far end, because they are the AM winners. You could argue the AM finishers, because they were the only starters in the class. And there, Hiroshi Hamaguchi and Phil Keane, class winners in the race, class winners in the championship. And Hiroshi Hamaguchi is a very happy man indeed. And there, Hiroshi Hamaguchi and Phil Keane stand on the podium. And now the trophies go to Florian Scholzer and Wolfgang Triller, who have moved into Blancpain GT Challenge Europe and indeed the Endurance Cup this year with great success. Louis Machiels and Andrea Bertolini taking third, despite the early puncture sustained by the Ferrari. Then the trophies for second to Jean-Luc Bobelic, hugely experienced racer Jean-Luc, and Jim Plough there with him. Jean-Luc, who's raced in modern one make in historics and has been a mainstay of Blancpain GT racing. And then for the class winners, Phil Keane and Hiroshi Hamaguchi. The trophies, Phil Keane, we know from initially single-seaters, but historics and British GT racing, how good he is. Factory Lamborghini driver, Pro-Am winners at Brands, Misano, Zandvoort, and of course, once this weekend here at the Hungaroring, and now taking the championship as well. So a fourth class win of the season, and the champagne is at their feet as the celebrations get underway here for the Pro-Am and the AM drivers at the Hungaroring. So let's have a look at the highlights of the final race of the year. On a dry road, it began with the Vincent Abril Raffaele Marchiello Mercedes on pole position, diving down to the first corner, a slight lock up there on the outside line from Christian Engelhardt, and that opened the door to enable Abril to come back through on the inside and snatch the advantage. Drama on the opening lap, David Pirelli dispatched with a puncture. He was out of the race. Safety car deployed, and at this point, Andrea Caldarelli down in 11th place, out of the points. But as the race got underway, drama started to come. First of all, Dries van Voor suffered a puncture, dropped out of the top 10, enabling Caldarelli to get into the points. And then Caldarelli was on the attack, finally getting himself up past Jim Pla and gaining even more places on the pit stops. Caldarelli also had to negotiate the Thomas Neubauer Nico Bastian Mercedes, which got a little bit fractious, but he did it. And an early pit stop for the Lamborghinis. First of all, Caldarelli to relay Marco Mappelli. Also in early, Engelhardt to give way to Mirko Bortolotti. It was another mega pit stop from the FFF racing team, which would be crucial because they gained 2 seconds on the pit stops and they jumped up to 4th position behind the Black Falcon Mercedes, which therefore would end the year on the same number of points but lose out on the tie-break on the number of wins. Andrea Caldarelli incredibly tense. Lucas Stoltz in the Black Falcon Mercedes did get onto the tail of Bortolotti, did challenge but couldn't get through, and Marco Mappelli came up to have a nibble at the back of the Mercedes as well. He could not quite find a way by either, and so as the optimism moved to despair in the Black Falcon garage, the nerves became jubilation in the FFF Racing Team garage. A race win for Raffaele and for Vincent, 3rd in the championship, but the championship to be won by Andrea Caldarelli and Marco Mappelli, 4th in the race, tied on points, winning on the tie-break. The new Blancpain GT World Challenge Europe champions, Marco Mappelli and Andrea Caldarelli, at the end of a fabulous season of racing. And disappointment for Black Falcon. From John Watson and David Addison in Hungary, it's goodbye for now.